All right. And we are live. The last word with Lord Cognito and Ebontis on that Friday night campfire action. A little special guest, right? We got something going on. What's going on, man?
We got a good man in here. Let's just bring him in right now, not skipping over anything. So let's get right to it.
Get to it. Welcome to The Last Word, episode number 119. It's another glorious Friday. We're back in front of the campfire for some more looter shooter discussion. I'm extremely excited about our special guest, so we're going to get right into it. I want to introduce a Lord who is not only a rising star as a young content creator, but is definitely the epitome of pure entertainment. Whether it be his informative weapon breakdowns, PC streaming builds, and exotic raid help, all done within our Destiny community. Introducing the creator and host of the Myfi YouTube and Twitch channels, my fellow Warlock Scholar, Lord of Recluse, who correctly recognizes Vault of Glass as one of the top moments in Destiny. Live from Kentucky and making his debut at the campfire of The Last Word, my man, Lord Myfi. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good, man. That was one heck of an intro. I don't know.
You didn't know what you was ready for. You didn't know what you was getting into, huh?
I didn't
know. What's going on, man? Good to have you, man, at the campfire, man.
Good to be here.
No doubt. So, I know we got a lot going on. I'm going to let E get into the beginning parts of the questions. We got a lot of stuff to ask you. So what you got for me? E, you muted. E, you still muted.
I'm muted.
There you go.
I was letting everything come in, so.
He's like, okay, you.
Yep.
What you got, man?
Myfi, I just wanted to, for one, thank you for coming on. I know you reached out being like, dude, how do I get on a podcast? We got you on. Obviously,
I appreciate it.
Like, honestly, the Destiny community is awesome about that because there's a lot of people who love to talk about Destiny, and we all have a lot of passion about it. And I like when I was kind of getting a little information on you, why you picked your class of choice. So tell us what your class of choice is and why. What was like one of the things that kind of got you hooked on it, and obviously another point where it completely saved your butt.
So I remember it was a warm summer in between was some I think it was in between my 10th and 11th grade year when Destiny 1 was about to come out.
You're gonna make us feel real old, dude.
Yeah.
I had not seen anything on it. I have never played Halo. I knew about Bungie and I was an Xbox guy, but I kind of started gaming after Halo Reach and all that stuff. And one of my friends is like, you should look up Destiny. The beta is about to come out in a few weeks. So I look it up. I watch a few things on it. I think I went to like GameStop, pre-ordered it, paid my $5, went on my way with my beta code. I get home, I redeem it. I'm on the Xbox 360. I think this was I think the next gen. I know we're getting really close to the new consoles coming out, but this was back when like the Xbox One. Yeah, maybe. I think the Xbox One had just came out or it was about to come out. Right. I get it on the 360. I redeem my code. I log into the character creation screen, and I start looking through stuff. I'm like, all right, I'm a very simple guy, you know. I'm like, okay, human, all right, male, and then I start looking at like the classes. I'm like, all right, Titan, Hunter, Warlock, and the first thing that I saw was
that power.
Yeah.
That glow.
Yeah, that.
Yes.
Yes.
Definitely a joke here, but I'm moving past it.
So I saw that, and I forget the exact description of each class, but I remember along the lines of like Titans being like the like frontline type, like first in, like the frontal assault type thing. And then I saw like Hunters, the stealth of the battlefield, or like they're stealthy. They quick, clean kills, all that stuff. And then I saw Warlock, and it was like magic, like reaching into the void and stuff. And I was like, oh, that's 100% what I'm going for. Any game that offers any sort of magical characters, that's the character I'm choosing. I played Skyrim for probably like a total of 3 hours. I was not a Skyrim guy. And I went for like a magical character. So
wow.
So like Diablo, mage. If you played World of Warcraft, you would have been a mage. That kind of a common trend there.
Yeah. I really want to get into World of Warcraft, but
That's a scary thing to get into. Be careful.
Yeah, I'm scared.
You have an addiction with Destiny already. You don't need like an extra. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
If you get more than one of those, you may not see the sun for a little while, and we're already fairly pale over here. So,
now respect Myfi, because literally your story is how I chose Warlock. It's literally the same thing, because I mean, I usually tend to go for characters like Titan. So I'm actually, people are very surprised I don't pick Titan class. Usually in other games, I kind of pick classes like that. But it was something about, it was two things. It was, like you said, the description, him showing the, the void or whatever he's doing. I'm like, that looked real
just
cool.
like some little energy ball in his hand, if I remember right.
Like he had control of it. And then the second thing, shout out to Slow Mo in the chat being messy. Warlocks are the only class worth playing. Salute to you being messy.
Man, I'm at a disadvantage tonight. All right, this will be fun. We got Vog, Love, Warlock. I'm just going to check out. I'll see you guys later.
You know me and Myfi, we in pocket right now. He said, hook up. Nah, you good. We got love for the Titans and the other raids. But yeah, man, it was literally that. And I think for me, the sealer actually, the only difference we have is you picked human. I went Awoken because I just like the blue skin, and it reminded me I'm a huge Silver Surfer fan. So I was like, yo, we got like Silver Surfer, like some magic thing going on. So it was pretty cool, man. That's what's up. Cool.
No, in there for like the first like year or so of Destiny 1, I didn't regret it, but I was like, man, I wish I could do more for my team, because I remember like Destiny 1, like Warlock couldn't do anything for like anyone. It was like you ran self-res or you ran like Nova Bomb.
A Nova Bomb, yeah, right.
But like Titans, they had bubbles. Hunters could like help out with the team in some sort of way. But Warlocks, they just kind of didn't have anything. But I'm glad I stuck with it, just because I truly believe that Warlocks are the best PvE character right now, which is mainly what I play. So.
Talk about it. Talk about it. Now, but I mean, you've got a cool, so that's reading the background, like you've got a really cool story as far, even though it doesn't exist anymore. Self-res was a thing. Self-res was a thing. And you've got a pretty epic story in reference to self-res. So you want to get into that moment?
Yeah, tell us where this was the clutch of clutches.
Yes.
So it was Vault of Glass. It was still year 1. I don't think yeah. I think we were a few DLCs in. I think we might have been on House of Wolves. I if I'm not mistaken, like I was running with an LFG team. Normally I would always have a few friends online. And then we would, say, hey, we want to raid. So we'd LFG to find some people. And this is back for like the whole Xbox LFG existed, when you would have to like go on a website and find your things like that. Your like other players that you wanted to kind of play with. And we did the raid. We were up till Atheon. Literally the entire raid is just a complete blur. I don't remember any of it, but I remember this one specific moment. Now Atheon was a boss that could be damaged outside of when you were technically supposed to damage him. It's just you would do such little damage without Time's Vengeance. That was the buff. So you would go into your portal, future, past. You would kill the oracles and all that stuff, while the guy with the shield would, be protecting you and whatnot. And then you would come out, and then, at least how my team did it, is that everyone would go to the center, like little floating platform.
Yes.
Like right before where the boss would stand. But in front of where the entrance of the room was. And it was completely like, it was kind of like a little island. And that's what we were doing damage from. And we were on like the third damage phase. I believe it was the phase before Enragement. And he had such little health. And I believe someone in one of the portals missed an oracle. And everyone's screen, started turning. I think it was red.
Like, no.
Yeah. And then so I knew in my head, because I had, if you got wiped due to oracles in VOG, you couldn't self-res. It was like a mechanic. You just couldn't self-res, or at least as far as I remember, you couldn't. So I remember that, and I remember thinking, okay, he literally has such little health that he could be killed outside of
the
times, like without the buff, pretty much.
Right.
So I jump off, I die, And then the other two guys, they were still doing a little bit of damage, but then they got wiped. And then I wasn't really saying anything. I self-rezzed, and then I killed him. That's pretty much how it went. And it was probably like one of the, like everyone else in the group was just like, oh, whatever. Like they didn't care. But to me, I was like, yo, that was massive.
They were like excited for your clutch moment there.
They dead-fished you? They just like,
bro, they didn't care. It was some LFG guys. My friends were like, yeah, that's cool. But dude, no one cared. And I was like, I don't think you all comprehend like the amount of brain power that just took for me to perform within like 5 seconds of like thinking, coming up with a solution, then acting on it, and then it actually worked. And I was just like, oh my goodness,
the disrespect, my
exactly.
Wow.
Like, do you know? No, you don't even know what I did for you.
Exactly. Listen, man. I would 2 things. One, that fight. I know people always give Vault a little crap because of nostalgia, but that fight, man, I really love that mechanic. Just the splitting up of the 2 teams.
Yeah.
You know, the time thing, kind of cleansing yourself, the Oracle stuff, getting back and all. I love the aspect of all coming back together to do DPS. I think that's one of the coolest things. And I remember that fight because I would jump into that island, like you said, right?
Yep.
And shoot off. So for you to do what you did and then shoot him outside of that time vengeance, buff thing, clutch, man. And shout out to the self-res warlocks, man. We'd save many a nightfall, many a raid. You know what I'm saying? Salute to those. They had to stop us. They had to shut us down. We were too powerful. They could not bring us back.
Well, let's see. D1 was self-res warlocks. Now we've got invisibility hunters doing all the rezzing. Yeah. I don't know if the Titans are ever going to have those. We have some bubble rezzes momentarily, but not nearly as often you guys did.
But the bubble was always clutch, man.
Bubble's there when you need it. Bubble's there when you need it.
Always respect the Titan with Helma Save 14. I got so much respect for y'all. Like y'all, when they come in that bubble and they blind their eye, like, respect. And the weapons of light, respect. There's always certain classes you're like, yo, I'm glad we got that guy on the team. For sure. What else you got for Myfi?
Oh, me?
Yeah, you.
Just kind of about your history a little bit. I know you did. You've kind of jumped around from everything from like Pokemon and NCAA and sports games and Black Ops. Kind of like me. I've played so many different things over the years. I mean, with some of the nostalgia stuff that comes out, we had like the Mario 35 anniversary come up recently, and then we also have like the Zelda one. Like, how far are there any games that haven't been like either remade or remastered or like anything that you would like to see kind of done in a recent generation or anything that you like played before would like to see again?
My all-time favorite game. And I kind of like to like separate my games. Like my all-time favorite like multiplayer game is of course Destiny. But I'm a massive single player person. Like I love my single player games. And my favorite my favorite single player game of all time is Fallout New Vegas. People have tried going on the Fallout 4 engine and like remaking pretty much the entirety with voice lines and everything of Fallout 3 and New Vegas, and each one of them always gets shut down by Bethesda because they're too close to the original, and I think it starts infringing on copyright. But if I had to choose like one game that I could have like come out within like the next year or just get like an official it's happening, would be a remake for Fallout New Vegas. And then of course Destiny 1, I would say I would love to see it like ported to PC, but I mean we're getting so much stuff out of the Destiny content vault coming in Beyond Light that it's pretty much the same thing.
No doubt. I want to shout you out on that. That's a huge gem right there. And for Fallout, people heavily regard that as the best in the series. I got into Fallout at Fallout 3, then I had to play New Vegas. I realized how much better it was. You know what I'm saying? But shout out to you. I realized that's actually Obsidian. And that's when I became a huge fan of Obsidian, especially now that Microsoft signed them as a studio. Because I didn't know they were behind so many of the games I liked. And I'm like, I just thought, it was the Bethesda banner and Bethesda does everything. And I didn't realize it was actually them. So salute to them. And you might want to look into, I don't know if you tried Outer Worlds. Have you tried that?
I have not tried Outer Worlds. I've seen some things on it. I remember when it first came out, it had some like really negative reviews and stuff. But apparently since then, it's gotten really good.
You should check it out, man. It's your people. It's your people. It's Obsidian. It's the New Vegas group.
Obsidian. I remember right after Fallout 4 came out, because the first 3 was made by Bethesda, and then New Vegas was made by Obsidian, and then 4 was made by Bethesda again. And then people were like, "Well, are we going to go back to Obsidian?" And Obsidian actually made a statement that they were like, we would love to work on another Fallout game, but Bethesda's just not letting us. But if it ever came up in the future, but I don't know how it is now with the whole Microsoft being signed with them and whatnot.
Yeah,
so
it's probably not going to happen now. But,
yeah,
they've got some stuff cooking. Look out for this game, Avowed. It looks phenomenal.
Yeah.
Kind of like maybe a next level take on Skyrim and stuff like that. And Outer Worlds is still making new DLC and stuff like that. So keep on looking for that.
I still want to know who managed to be like, all right, so we have Outer Worlds, Outer Wilds, I'm sorry, which one?
Yeah, who did that? Who chose it
launched,
first? Yeah.
Like not that far apart. Could not have been more confusing to be like, I can guarantee you some parents bought the wrong
game.
Yep,
Facts.
It definitely happened.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Yeah, man. So another thing I think is really cool that you do. It's very tech savvy. And I like the PC kind of breakdowns and for the game. What got you started on the setups, like the streaming, to help people get streaming setups?
So that was kind of just like a one-off type video that I did a few weeks back. I've always been like a kind of tech junkie in a sense. I remember like where I originally found like YouTube was like off watching like unboxing videos of tech, and I've always been like, you know, not necessarily tech savvy, but just like seeing like what's the next best thing, you know. And then eventually, I think it was late last year, I ended up building a computer. And I remember I got like all my knowledge, all my information from just like, you know, people on YouTube that like to talk about it, Reddit forums, stuff like that. I eventually built a PC. It's my current gaming one. And then I built a friend's PC, and now I've built my streaming PC. So that's 3 PCs under my belt. I've never had a problem with them. And it's so fun to do it. Like, it's so fun to unbox a new
It's like
stuff.
my favorite thing.
Yes.
You don't get to do it that often. You're like, okay, cool, I got it set. Hopefully this thing lasts me for 3 years, but I wish I could build one every few months.
Yes,
so, because I've built like 3 or 4 of mine over the years, and I'm sitting here looking at new graphics cards, waiting on new chip. I follow like all that stuff, and you can just go down like Jay's 2 cents, Linus, like hardware, you can go down the TechTube or YouTube lineup, and I watched them all. So I've watched those over so long, and then follow like what new hardware is coming and all that type of stuff. PC building is an adult Lego. That is very correct.
Yes, it is.
Ricky Senpai is true.
Yeah, and now the Legos have lights on them, and they're colorful.
Oh, they're colorful. Yeah, man. Shout out to E for getting me back in the game, because I've been so far removed, and he helped me with my setup. And so it's cool to see, you know, I always feel it's cool to see content creators do that, because obviously this is your field. You want to optimize, get the best performance you can with streaming and doing all the stuff you're doing. But you even broke it down to other equipment and your other setup and stuff like that. And other question I had to ask you, how excited are you about these NVIDIA, these 30 series?
Yeah, how much did you go nuts over those? Because I've watched
about this.
I've watched so much.
Are you a 2080 Ti owner? I just want to make sure everybody's okay.
I own a 2080 Ti in the main gaming rig, and then whenever I built the streaming rig, literally everything was sold out. It was either sold out or double MSRP. And I was like, with the new cards around the corner, I'm just gonna cheap out. I think I bought a 2060. Threw it in the streaming PC.
It's totally fine.
I was like, I'm just gonna wait for the new cards, and then I'll take the 2080 Ti as just a joke, because you don't need a graphics card that powerful inside of a streaming rig that relies off of your CPU. Right. So once they come out and I get my hands on one, I'm going to take my 2080 Ti, throw it in the streaming rig, and then I'm going to throw the new one in there. Ooh. But I am excited for these cards.
One are you looking at?
Which one you doing?
Yeah, we got to know. What's
3090, 100%.
Oh, you going balls to the ball. He ain't playing no games out here.
3090, and I'm waiting for Asus to release their partnered one.
Yep. Yeah, the Asus one, just Asus is definitely one of the best. I have an EVGA 1080 Ti like for the Win 3, and this thing's been solid. But mine, especially, I swear they were talking to me when I was watching the stream. Hey, you 1000 series, you could upgrade down. I was like, because I'm like, all of them are going to kick the living crap out of mine, because the 3070 is as good as yours, which is nuts.
Yes.
And then the 3080 beats that handily, and the 3090 is just an absolute monster, but yet still less than a Titan cost this current generation, which only is about a week longer, which is just, it's so like 15. People are saying $1,500 is too much for a graphics card. And I'm not saying it's not extreme. Believe me, don't get me wrong. That's a crap ton of money for a graphics card. But the Titan being $2,500 for the 2000 series Titan. Yeah, $2,500. and this thing's $1,000 cheaper and just destroys that like it never existed. Like 24 gig of RAM, 10,000 CUDA cores. I mean, we're talking just gobs and gobs. I mean, they're sitting there. Now, granted, they were playing some 8K at 60 frames per second, and I was just like, I still don't know if I believe what settings those were on. They said it looked pretty, but
and we need
either
benchmarks,
way,
sir.
Yeah, either way, there's a whole lot of things that can change. But now, like a 2090 or 3090, playing like 4K, 144 hertz. Now those monitors that have been like waiting in the wings to be like, at some point, you're going to be able to use me. Now's the time, because now you actually have enough power to use those pretty easily.
Funny story about that. I think I don't know if you saw, but I recently bought a 4K 144 hertz monitor in prep. Okay, I bought it, and it's so like there's very few monitors. So like with like 4K currently right now with the current limitations of DisplayPort 1.4 and only being able to transfer, I believe like it's 30 some gigabits per second. Yeah. It's impossible to like push like full 4K at 144 and like retain all of your kind of color.
Yep.
So there's a new technology called like DSC, which is I forget exactly what it means, but I think there's probably I think there's like 2 or 3 monitors right now in the market that have DSC, and the monitor that I bought actually has it. Whenever I purchased this monitor, which was about a week ago, Amazon had tons of them. Like, I mean, tons of them. I remember checking an hour after the NVIDIA cards were announced. There were 10 left. And then I checked like 20 minutes later and they were gone. They are completely sold out now. And I'm just like, okay, I was not meaning to do that, but thank God I did.
Yeah, exactly. Because people are future-proofing now, right?
So now we're going to see, can it run Microsoft Flight Simulator? That's the test.
That is the question. That is the question.
How pretty is a Flight Simulator going to look?
That game's beautiful. I don't even have the card to really maximize.
It's beautiful, but it's like it's like the new Crisis from what I hear. It's like, how much can it make your rig sweat? Completely, just handily, just pouring sweat.
Absolutely, and it'll run out your SSD if your SSD game ain't on. That is storage. Woo!
That's a big boy. I also heard it uses. Somebody was saying it's like constantly streaming the like data of like live weather and streaming the information for like all the maps and everything.
Amazing.
It's so cool.
Yeah, amazing tech.
It's like a good time to be a gamer.
Yeah,
it is. It is.
We're gonna get some pretty games and potentially some consoles, maybe.
Yeah,
so I wanted to ask you that actually. Xbox, PlayStation. Have you always been PC? Do you lean any way? What are your thoughts about this? Just this game of chicken on this tightrope that at some point is going to come to an end. Just where are you standing on all this right now? I was just curious if you're like, I just spent like all this money on crazy graphics card monitors. You guys do you. I'm going to be over here, or if you grew up on either one. I was just kind of curious.
So I grew up on the PlayStation 1 and eventually the PlayStation 2, and then eventually I switched off to the Xbox 360.
Sounds about
played
normal.
on the 360. Yep, played on the 360, and then eventually switched off and got an Xbox One. Played on the Xbox One for all the way up until last year. All the way up until last year.
Wow, you stood loyal.
Yeah. And like that was the only reason that I stayed on there was my friends were on there, and I was just like, well, it says I have like 6 years on here now. I might as well just keep it, right? But no, it wasn't until this past year. Whenever me and my girlfriend started dating, she had a PlayStation, okay? And I was like, PlayStation. I was like, I'm an Xbox guy.
Well, it was contentious at the beginning.
Yes. So I'm like, you know what? I'll try this PlayStation. I try it.
And then she just pulled out all these awesome games, and you're like, all right, I'll marry you.
Yes. And I, like, as someone that loves single-player games as much as I do.
Console,
yeah.
Single player console.
When I got Spider-Man, I started playing through Ghost of Tsushima, The Last of Us, dude. Like, and I was just like, what have I been missing this entire time?
Did you play God of War yet?
I'm really excited for the PS5. I'm praying. I'm praying that they give like an update and like frame rate and graphics to Ghost of Tsushima when the PS5 comes out.
Yeah, and it comes out. That new multiplayer mode comes out kind of around
Legends,
the same time.
it's
PS5.
fall something.
I think it's gonna be.
I'm really
there,
hoping
PS5
they
ready.
do.
Facts.
Legends will be good. Did you play God of War?
I have not played God of War. I have not. I have never played a God of War.
I had never played one before at all.
That's the one.
Just play
That's
that
the
one.
Just play that one.
Just play the most
Just play that one.
Yep,
Yeah, just play that one, bro. Play that
They'll
one.
give
Trust
you
me,
little
you're good.
snippets of like history, and honestly, watch one of those like God of War 1 through 3 in 5 minutes. Like do one of those, and then just you get the general gist.
Yeah.
Go play God of War. Amazing. So like that's one more that you got to play. It's that.
Boy.
That's almost got to be my game of the generation. It's definitely in like way up there. So it's amazing.
It is amazing. Absolutely. And like I said, it's such a departure from the others. That's why you can kind of jump in at that starting point. And like E said, if you really want to know, you can do like a recap of the other games because it's such a technical departure. And yeah, man, it is truly,
I'll
truly
have to
amazing.
give it a shot.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
I'll have to, man.
No doubt. What else we got for the man?
I don't know. You got anything for him?
Yeah, I mean, we got that. We got the streaming history. I mean, I think for me, what interested me about your channel was obviously seeing like the Pinnacle stuff kind of really help take off for you. And I just wanted to get like some other key moments for you in streaming or whether it be on the YouTube that you really said, okay, you know what? This is really jumping off. I'm going all out now. You know what I'm saying? Like, give me some moments that really resonated for you, whether it be YouTube or actually Twitch streaming.
So YouTube, of course, I started, and it was crazy how I started. You know, it originally started as like oh my God, I can't leave my house type thing because of like, I post high school, coming out of high school, I was, a very guy that was super like, cared about my looks and stuff like that. I went to the gym, everything like that. And then post high school, I broke out with like acne and stuff. And so I pretty much just kind of like, I went on Accutane, if y'all know what that is. Like my skin literally burnt if I went in the sun. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to stay inside. So I started recording like videos and stuff. And then, it kind of like snowballed here and there. I bounced around from like Call of Duty, Fortnite, and then I eventually landed on Destiny. I had just moved out of my parents' house, and where I lived prior, I'd never had good internet like all my life. I built a PC, and I started kind of, I wanted to get back into Destiny as someone that was very attached to their day one Destiny character that I made on the first day of Destiny 1's launch. I was like, all right, I can just cross save it and use it. And so I did that. I was like, when I say I was playing like 10 hours a day, I was playing then more than I do now. I was playing 10 hours a day, grinding. I mean, I played in year one, and then I played year one. I finished the campaign, and I did a raid. And I was like, all right, cool. And we all know how year one was. And then Curse of Osiris comes out. I bought, of course, the Max Edition because, just a massive Destiny fan that I am and that I was. I bought the Max Edition of D2. First DLC comes out, Curse of Osiris, finish in like a day. Second DLC comes out, Warmind, same thing. At that point, I mean, I was kind of just done. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go off, do other things. I remember Forsaken came out, and I got Forsaken. And I played like the campaign. I finished the campaign, and then I was like, you know what? I'm done. So I had the entirety of Forsaken. I had the entirety of all the Forsaken DLCs to catch up on. I mean, man, I remember like grinding Izanagi's Burden from start to finish, grinding all those Pinnacle weapons from start to finish, trying to catch up on all the raids, trying to do literally everything.
I gotta back you up though, because you said something that broke my heart.
What was it? What was it?
All right, so you did the Forsaken campaign, you avenged Cade, and the Dreaming City didn't wow you. The dungeons, the Last Wish didn't keep you in. Like, what made you go away from Forsaken?
None of my friends were playing it. I had no one to raid with.
That will definitely
that would do it.
I've been there.
At this point, I had only finished the Red War campaign on one character. And this was back before I think you could just skip the Red War campaign. I don't remember when they implemented that in. But I hadn't finished that. I had like, I felt like I was so kind of, there was so much for me to do, and like I didn't know where to start.
Yeah, that's true. No, that's a very valid point with Destiny at that point. They didn't do, that was when me and E used to talk about it. They did a terrible job of onboarding people who returned to the game or new to the game. And they try, you know, but I agree. It's still not the
It's a little
greatest.
bit better now.
It's a little bit better now, but back then it was literally just a whole bunch of icons and you don't know who to talk, what's priority. You don't know what you're supposed to be doing first. So I will give you that. That is definitely something I can completely understand where you're coming from on that regard. But continue, sir.
Yeah. But no, yeah, I don't know what it was that made me quit. I think I was just kind of at that breaking point of I've played so much Destiny in my life. Like I had thousands and thousands of hours on D1. D2 year one just didn't hook me like year one of Destiny 1 did. And I know like some people like to say that D1 year one was a worse experience than D2 year one. And I feel like there is this cycle that Destiny is in where the first year, which I know they're not making a Destiny 3, but I was like, okay, year one of Destiny 1 was okay. It was all right. Year 2 was amazing. And then same thing happened with D2. Year 1 was all right. Second year was amazing. But like, I didn't really, I don't, it's just something about like.
And the third year is kind of like, it's not as good, but it's like, hey, we're better. We're better than we started.
Yes.
So let's just get to the magic question since we bringing this subject up. So where do you stand as a totality from D1's total to D2's total? Which side of the camp do you stand on as far as which Destiny is better for you?
Oh, D2 100%.
Wow, he's loving this. He's loving this.
D1 is cool. I love D1, but the amount of content, like if you put someone down in front of D1 and you put someone down in front of D2 and you're like, play the entire game, do every single thing. The person, I think it's completely subjective and opinionated about which one they might enjoy more, but the amount of content is undeniably more in Destiny 2. There's more to do.
Content. Okay, I got you. I see what you.
But in enjoyment wise, if you were to like wipe my memory and, you know, I was told to play D1 and D2 and tell me which one that I thought was better and say they were both at like the same, you know, I could play them on PC and all that stuff. I didn't play one on console, one on PC and all that. Oh, that's a hard one. I think I would still stick with D2.
I gotta respect it, man. Don't agree, but I can respect it.
Yeah, I mean, understand.
This guy just lives in his nostalgia. He's getting old, living in his younger years.
Cut it out now. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. We're gonna stop that right now because this podcast is in the minority with a lot of stuff. We could do that poll. I'm down for that smoke.
I can put one in chat right now.
We could put. This is last word. A lot of people agree with you.
No,
we got to do the Twitter poll. We're going to do the Twitter. We're going to take it to the world. We're going to see where people feel on that. Yeah, shout out to Ricky, say he blasphemous, but it's all good. Now, listen, man, I get Myfi. I do get your point as far as content, right? And one thing D2 has done really well is that consistent, you know, drip of content.
Yeah.
Always something to do. You know, kind of stuff. And I get it. I completely get it. It just comes down to, this is subjective, all right? At the end of the day, all this is subjective. It's all personal preference and stuff like that. I think for me, the reason why I stand so on the other side is that I just feel that D1 was a little bit more of a hardcore leaning MMO experience, and that kind of suited my thing. Also, you know, as far as the end game mechanics and stuff like that, I don't feel that, shout out to the cars going by. I don't feel that, I felt like D2 really held your hand and made it
100%.
too accessible, right? And then they had to find that happy place. And my last argument against D2, and much as I love where D2 is now, I felt D2, there were way more moments where I quit the game, where I'm just like, this ain't it. Whereas D1, I felt I didn't quit the game because the game wasn't doing what I liked. I just stopped. The time that I did stop playing was just like, okay, I've done everything. Now I'm waiting for the next thing. That's how I feel. So it's just a difference of opinion, but I would love to get a Twitter poll on that and see, you know what I'm saying,
right
what's
now,
going on.
Destiny 2, 73%, Destiny 1, 27%.
Yeah, this is the last word campfire.
This is
on
like
the
half this chat is Myfi. Half this chat is Myfi right now. I'm not even going to claim the majority at this point.
Now, whenever you mention kind of like the MMO kind of style RPG experience, I still think, and not necessarily that the way it was handled, but the grind of the leveling system in year one of Destiny 1 was my favorite thing in the world. Like, I remember this was back before light level was introduced, and I know a lot of people hated it. And don't like, don't get me wrong, like the fact that one level on day one of Crota being out, like if you didn't have someone that was level 31, so say you had an entire fire team of people that were level 30, you couldn't beat Crota. Like you couldn't beat him day one. You needed someone that was level 31 as the sword bearer, because one level, like the amount of damage, like the amount more damage that you could actually do was so significant. I didn't like that. Like the whole, okay, you're 30, but now you're 31, so now you can beat the raid. But I did love the grind to get those armor pieces and to level up. I remember deleting. So my day one warlock has stayed with me, but my other two characters, I remember deleting a warlock and redoing Vogue 7 times in 1 week. 7 times. Jeez, and when I say insane. Like, I think it was like during a break or something from like school. I played, I was missing gauntlets, and I needed gauntlets to be level 30. And like, just like the obsession with, I need to get this and like the grinding that it took, because like you can only get at that time like powerful gear from like the raid or like the nightfall or something. The nightfall.
Well, you had to like, I think you had to do the raid to finish it up, because that was like Forever 29. Or no, Forever 29 was Vault of Glass, and that was just from doing the raid. That was why a lot of people did a raid, and that's again where I will agree with you on that piece, is like the end game. I'm not saying it's all, I'm saying piece.
You don't even like, it pains him to agree. I love this. Continue preaching, sir.
And I'm going to get crap for this from probably half of the people who play Destiny, but like doing in-game content is what should get you to max level.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, and that's the whole. Even like the pinnacle grind now always still feels like weird. Because like they've kind of like lessened that one to be a little bit, but even the 10 power levels by the seasons feel they haven't quite. And again, I don't know if they're going to do anything this next coming season, and I doubt it, because we already know what the numbers are like for infusion and stuff like that for the future seasons. But the way it was like doing the in game, that was why I rated so much.
Preach it.
Is because you had to. Now it's like it is to where there are a lot more options. The fact that like you can trip your way through Iron Banner and get like the +2 pinnacles. Yeah. And again, I haven't even been a fan of that for a while, and I may get crap for it, but it's like,
preach, brother, preach.
That's just one of those for me. Is any game that you go through, it's like the hardest stuff is exactly that. Like the Trials Flawless Chest needs the same treatment as like it. All that stuff needs to be hard to achieve, and not everybody's going to get everything. So.
Exactly, and again, this is my biggest argument against D2, and I love it. I do. We literally, come on, we love this game. We love what he's doing. But my main disgust, I'll never forget. Boot up D2, you do the Red War campaign, and then you're like, all right, cool. What's the next thing? And then you see this Hawthorne character, and I'm like, all right, cool. And I never forget. So I'm like, yo, we got to do this Leviathan raid. Everybody in the clan, let's go, right? So we're doing it. You know, blood, sweat, and tears. We beat Pimp Daddy Callus. It was a good experience, right? I had fun. And I'll never forget, I had like 5 people in the clan, right? And they like, yeah, I just went to Hawthorne and I got Midnight Cool and I got this. And I'm like, you didn't even raid.
The whole clan, like, the clan engrams,
the clan was eating and no one raided. And I'm like, are you serious? And I'm like, they gave you that? And they gave you, what was the Rocket Lord? Sins of the Past? And, it became the participation trophy game. So I'm just like, oh, you're not going to cheapen my experience, and then everybody's just eating out here for free and doesn't have to do any pinnacle activity. I was disgusted. Like, I'll never forget it, because, again, people can say it's bougie, but I do agree with E. The highest end content, the pinnacle end, that should be the reward to get you past those levels, to make people engage in the content. And then they just kept giving you all these, well, if you just do Iron Banner 4 times, you can get right there with the guy that raided. And you know what I'm saying? And then we lost the whole, last point I'll say, and I'm a little tirade, but the last point I'll say is that one of the key moments, for people who love Wrath of the Machine as their favorite raid, I'll never fight them on one thing. I always felt the system Wrath of the Machine did, as far as the little Siva key fragments, as far as participation and continually running the raid and still able to get the actual raid gear, and just very rewarding experience. So I always felt that was one of the more fun raids to win. And I just wish
the raid awards were better in D1, pretty much.
Yeah, like I wish Destiny would go back to that.
At this point.
So I think where the disconnect is like, if you're a consistent raider, like how me Addict and a lot of guys in my clan are, it hurts still that they haven't kind of brought those systems back. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. To make it there. And that's it. But I agree with you, E. Quality of life of D2 is way better. Protection, things like that, bounty system. Certain things are just way better quality. I just want them to get back to a little bit more of the hardcore experience, and hopefully we'll see it with the new subclasses and stasis. They're starting to get there with certain things that we're going to talk about.
A little more customizing and builds and stuff like that we'll talk about, which is kind of intriguing. That's it for me. Is like, there are certain things about D1, certain things about D2. If I weighed them as a complete package, I think D2 tips the scale its direction, mostly on the fact, like, as you said, the breadth of content, the fact that we had, we're on season 11 now. We've been through so many different stories. We had Ada. We've had so many varieties of activities versus a lot of downtime. Some were better than others. We had Unworthy. We had Drifter. Not all of it hit it well. So it was like, not everything's like, just sniffing roses. But, I mean, we've had so many cool, like the Menagerie.
Yes. Dope.
Amazing experience there, launched with a raid. That whole year of Forsaken was so much, and they had multiple studios doing it. But, D1, they were under the Activision banner as well. And it's just, it's like raid loot this time around, especially. I want unique raid perks. I want armor that sets itself apart. I want dungeons to drop like Zolmak armor, so I look like a crazy fire hydrant.
Yes.
And I want if you solo flawless a dungeon, like give me something that sets me apart, like a badass emote or something. I mean, there's so many things. Chatterwhite.
Oh, yes. Chatterwhite.
I mean, that's a very small nugget of like stuff that we are slowly inching back to. They're getting, again, Eververse has had its, fingers in a lot of stuff, and they're slowly starting to pull them back. So it's this whole Glowhoo. Yep. Both of those.
And I feel like D2's raid legendaries are severely lacking.
They all mostly are, because I mean, you have PvP pinnacles, you have right now Gnawing Hunger is better than anything you'll get in Garden of Salvation.
That's what I'm talking about.
Last Wish, like Gnawing Hunger is kicking the crap out of every legendary gun that you're going to get in there, and it's a gun you get in like a box. It could be Gambit, Ingram, who knows where you get it at this point. It comes from everywhere. And it's just better than those. And unfortunately, those are older raids. So I'm hoping, like, if Deepstone Crypt, supposedly whatever it's going to be, doesn't have like raid exclusive or anything that helps, like intrinsic perks in any way at all for that raid, it's going to make me really, really sad, because that's the type of stuff they need.
I completely agree. Like, Gnawing Hunger, as great as it is, should have been like somehow like a raid, acquired. I just feel the legendary, they made this shift where it's very exotic dependent, like single exotic dependent in D2 raids, whether it be the Anarchy, the 1K. And don't get me wrong, those are cool, but I don't feel any attachment to, like, when I get a raid, outside of maybe Midnight Coup, Sins of the Past, Leviathan, I'm trying to think of legendaries
that were set rules that were good.
And those are set. Exactly.
And now you can get same idea outside of it.
Good point. And now that they went random without any intrinsic perks to the raid, or that's another thing. Like, there's really no raid weapons that help with mechanics.
Nope.
Right? Go ahead. What you think, Myfi? Am I going too hard on them? Tell me what you think.
I don't like... I was massively not. I mean, I wasn't, like pitchforks and torches and stuff. But I actually didn't like raid exotics that were only that, like, their special perk was only useful in that raid. Like, I remember Vault of Glass, for example, had the perk where
the Oracle thing,
you would do more damage to oracles.
Mm-hmm.
Now the weapons in VOG were still really good, but I would much rather see raid weapons with pinnacle style perks. Like, example, Master of Arms is only found on Recluse. Micro Missile is only found on Mountaintop.
Right.
Like, I feel like that, especially if they're only going to do pinnacle weapons, once a year now is what they're saying?
I feel that.
If they're only going to do pinnacle weapons once, like, go ahead and start, like, looking at creating, like, very unique perks that are only found on, that raid scout, or that raid pulse rifle, or that raid hand cannon. And then, if you want to throw on, like, underneath, or if you want to make it like the intrinsic thing, where it helps out with something within the raid, then that's fine. But I would much rather have like a pinnacle style special perk on it.
To your point, like, we know Redrix is going away, right? How cool will it be, like, for example, Desperado to come back within a raid legendary. You know what I'm saying? So I'm
that'd be great.
Like those pinnacle level perks that are so unique. Like I said, you can only get it from this subset of weapons and stuff
Can you
like
imagine
that.
Desperado on a hand cannon?
Ooh.
Oh my.
Oh my.
Good luck balancing that, but that's the point. Destiny, I cannot remember where I heard it recently. Destiny is usually at its best when it's near broken. It's when you have a lot of fun, things are a little off, whether it be laser tag or whatever it may be. Like, that's a prime example of just goofy fun, but there's a lot of times when things are leaning towards broken because we've been through the balance everything into this little nugget of year 1 Destiny 2. We are too balanced. Everything's all the same. It's boring. Like, now they're getting into some cool stuff with exotics, but legendaries can't always just be boring.
Yeah. No, I mean,
agree.
Even gnawing hunger in itself is like, I don't know what my role is right now. My subsistence rampage, it's still lots of bullets and extra damage. For 3 years, we've had some type of either fast reload and damage, and they haven't found a way to like steer away from that. And they just got to start. I don't know. I'm curious to see what happens this fall. But
the cool thing, to your point, is with the introduction of sunsetting, I feel they should be a little more fearless because it'll last just for a couple of seasons and then intrinsically be sunset. So I think maybe with that'll give them the confidence to get a little bit more, like you said, like fearless, a little, like not all the way broken, but just have a little bit more fun with it. You know what I'm saying? I
mean, speaking of stuff that's going to be broken, I think it's what the background is of the podcast and basically everything we got coming with Stasis. So I honestly wanted to ask you guys, before we even get into like breaking down the subclasses and stuff like that, how broken do you think Stasis is going to be? How long do you think it's going to take till people find like some game breaking like situations, or there's like strategies that like Bungie didn't see? Do you think they've thought outside the box enough to test everything? VA Gene's just like day one.
I think that people are really going to find, if there is anything to find, which more than likely there is, within Stasis, like cool, maybe broken things post-raid. I remember when Last Wish came out, no one ran well, like with Warlock. Like, no one ran it because it was a brand new subclass and they weren't comfortable with it. Right. And people really didn't start experimenting with and they didn't really realize, oh my god, like it's like a bubble, but I can shoot out of it. Until post raid. So I'm gonna go ahead and say that it'll be post, if it is called the Deepstone Crypt. Once that gets beaten, then that's when people are really gonna start getting their hands on Stasis and like all like the really hardcore players, because of course, I mean, the hardcore players are gonna be prepping for the raid, and then once the raid is done, then people will start kind of messing around with it. But I'm interested to see. I know a lot of people right now are kind of saying the whole or what I hear the most is the grenades, man, the out of the map and all that stuff. And I'm like, Bungie's got to think about that. And I don't think, I mean, I think there'll be a few things here and there that'll be like, oh my god, like this is broken with the whole like, grenading and platforming. But I don't think it's going to be as massive as people are making it out to be, because I mean, we already have barriers and stuff like out of bounds zones that will just tell you to turn back, and more than likely that's what'll happen with most of the people trying to like discover glitches and stuff. Of course, I think that there will be a few here and there that Bungie just didn't think about, or just kind of got bugged along the way. But yeah, that's kind of my thought on like how long it'll take people to kind of start using Stasis and whatnot.
No, fair enough. I mean, I'm kind of with you, Myfi. I'm gonna reserve judgment. At the end of the day, I just love how cool it is, how out of the box thinking it is. I'm always going to applaud them for the September / fall expansions, because to me, those are always the most transformative experiences in Destiny. Those are always when, like, I get hyped. Sandbox changes. Whenever you get new subclasses, now we get in Stasis. This is just fun stuff. So, it's just another, like another tool in the tool set. Like we're going to see what this thing does. We're going to, and like you said, it may be a little bit of an overreaction. The only thing I'm a little nervous, I will say, I'm nervous, but concerned, I should say, is PvP. I got to see how this move in PvP. I got to see that. But it's one of those things when it comes to a raid, I'm very interested, because you made a good point. Like, I remember in the beginning, I was Warlock, like, I didn't realize how powerful was. I didn't realize how, what's our boots, man? What's our boots that got nerfed? Oh, the factions, baby. You know what I'm saying? So like, I didn't realize how serious that was. You know what I'm saying? And then people start to catch on, and then strats start kicking in, and then you realize. So I think eventually people will find things that you're like, okay, this is serious. But I think there will be some times where good old reliable will still work, whether it be, Titan Bubble, Warlock Well, and so on and so forth. All I'm hoping for, we haven't gotten to the Hunter yet. I know we don't do the Hunter this way, but I really am pulling for the Hunters to get a true support ability. I know they like to flip around, and that's
they do
cool.
have Tether, which is really good for crowd control.
Yes, Tether is you're right. Tether is fire. I take that back. You are right with that. I meant to say class ability. I would love Hunters to get a supporting, like weak Titans, throw up the little barricade.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, I just want them to have something that helps the team. I feel like they need something, in that regard. Tether definitely helps.
You could argue the invisibility grenade can be beneficial for multiple people.
Yeah.
If you go that way to like, hey, get out of a pinch. That's how people get through Grandmasters half the time. Right now is invisibility grenades just to skip stuff. May not be as intended, but it's in there.
Yeah, not as intended. I want something intentionally
So what would
supportive.
you get? That's, I guess, the thing about a Hunter, though. As it is, it's still like the wall, and even if the new well that we can free stuff, which we'll talk about in a little bit, it's still a well. So what would the dodge do for you that would support?
I'm trying to think. I mean, it is a hard thing because I know lore-wise, Hunters are the lone wolf and, kind of, about themselves, gunslingers and all that stuff. I get it. I can't necessarily think of one, but I'm confident Bungie could create something that, what you thinking, Myfi? You got something in your mind that you think they could do for Hunters that could kind of, I
think Hunters are in a good place right now.
Not that they're not in a good place. Yeah,
I'm just kind of waiting to see what Stasis is going to bring for Hunters, because I know so far what we've seen is the Hunter. At least I know, and I know we haven't got the full kind of little mini teaser that they've done for the Warlock and the Titan yet, but I know from what we've seen, Titans, their nades or their little ability or whatever causes walls to form from ice, and then Hunters causes platforms.
Yes.
I think that's going to be interesting, but no, I really don't have I don't even know what they could do with Hunters in PvE.
Maybe the platform is it. Maybe there's just
it's
some
just
strategic.
The wall grenade. I still want them to explain that because.
Yeah.
The Titan throws the wall grenade, and that's the one that hits in PvP and goes vertical. And then you got the one in PvP that's horizontal. I'm still wondering about the grenades because they're the grenades when they show the subclass. I guess we're just gonna jump into that part. When they show the subclass, you have the jumps, and there's two little gray squares underneath, and be okay, those are your other two jumps. You have your barricade for the Titan. There's one other box which would be rally barricade or the towering barricade. And the grenades don't have a little gray box. Yet, in the trailer, I know a Titan has thrown the wall grenade, and then a Hunter threw a wall grenade in PvP. They both have. So I'm wondering if that was just a weird piece of footage, or if each class gets one stasis grenade, which we'll dive a little into more. But
yeah, it's interesting. I'm just curious. Like I said, shout out to the Hunters. Ain't no slander. Just just want to know what y'all doing.
I'm honestly curious when it comes to stasis. If people can wrap their heads around its capabilities, I guess, when it comes to crowd control, which is what it sounds like a lot of this is going to be, not so much destruction, but control, slowing, freezing, all those things in a raid situation, as you guys talk about, the people who put that to use, for defensive, throw up a wall over here, freeze these guys over here, defending the group, one or two good stasis people are going to be not quite healers, but they're your support crowd control while other people are focused on what's ahead of you, keeping you alive, which if done well, I will be curious if they're at all involved, as you guys said, in the raid, or if they do start shining later. I'll be curious if it's one of those that gets taken advantage of.
Yeah. And my last point with that, I also feel with these kind of powers implemented, that it almost suggests that overwhelming odds, you know what I'm saying, that we're going to need stuff to control these enemies. Stuff is just gonna keep on coming because these are powerful abilities, y'all. These stopping enemies in their tracks and just doing all this type of stuff. So I'm very curious to see the mechanics of the enemies that we fight, that we're gonna have to deal and use a lot of these powers. So excited, man. I'm pretty hyped for it.
Well, we may as well talk about them.
Let's get it.
We got
let's get into it.
two different stasis subclasses broken down in a bit more detail. We've got the Shadebinder, which is where we'll start. It's the Warlock. We know we've got Winter's Wrath. So this is my Warlock crew. I'm going to let you guys take this one. You've got the Shatter Shockwave, which is going to be the detonation from actually the Staff Crystal. And then also the Penumbral Blast, which is your melee, but also seems to be like a function of the super as well. The projectile you shoot out that freezes, and then you have your big explosion shockwave that will shatter. So wanted to get your guys' thoughts just on the two abilities, see what you guys are thinking. Excited, not excited? Where are you guys at on the Shadebinder right now?
Myfi.
So for Shadebinder, I'm still kind of on the fence about the whole shatter one. Like, is it just like, oh, my teammates free stuff and now I get to shatter it? Like, and at the same time, like, can enemies that are frozen only be killed if they are shattered? Like, or like shattered or shot? Or that's kind of like where I'm still like on the fence about like which one is it? I know the whole freezing capability where you shoot the little staff. That's cool. I am really, really looking forward to the freezing rift though. Like that is like one thing I am looking forward to so much because
be lit.
There has been like, especially like challenges, like solo challenges, or it just keeps coming back to me whenever I completed my solo prophecy for my solo flawless for prophecy, the dungeon. There was a point where I like my strategy for like once like one side was dunked and the ogre would spawn in boss room, I would throw a rift down. And one of the biggest things that I always kind of was concerned about is if I get overwhelmed in that rift. So like before I would throw that rift down, I had to make sure that I had Devour up in case a thrall or something like that would come in and start smacking me up. I could melee him and then get my health back. But like with something like that stasis rift where I can throw it down and then anything around me kind of just freezes.
Stop that.
That gives me a window of opportunity, especially as a warlock that runs, 100 recov. I could recov like all my health and be good to go. And then I could start, I could be back in the fight.
Bro.
That's the main thing I'm most excited about. And I know it sounds crazy because normally, you should be excited for the super and stuff, but I am really looking forward to that class ability.
I'm with you, bro. I got two exotics for you. Vesper of Radius.
Okay.
And Sanguine Alchemy. Think about what that could do with the stasis powers, bro.
I'm going to keep it honest with you, man. I don't think I've ever used those like exotics.
You know what? It's cool. It's cool. Let me educate you.
I am a Lunas all day.
Okay, you're Luna. Salute.
No, so I was gonna say for you, for Sanguine Alchemy, that's the one where you extend your rift.
That's the one where the rift extended.
So here's
every
the key.
time you get killed.
Casting your rift generates a shockwave that freezes. It's not a continuous freezing.
No, I know that's not going to continuous freeze.
I know. I'm just letting you know.
But I'm just saying that once the freezing part stops and you're still killing, the basic rift, if it heals, right, will still heal you. For example, if I run Stormcaller, right, and then when I got my little Arc Souls, right, Arc Souls will last. If I got Sanguine on, Arc Souls, as soon as the initial 10 seconds or whatever is the rift, the Arc Souls will go away, right? But the rift stays down, and I'm just getting hit as long as I kill. It's almost like a Devour. You know what I'm saying? People don't use it. It's very powerful. And then Vesper, what'll be cool, Vesper will probably work better with the actual freezing because you'll do the freezing, right? Boom. Now, the more enemies go around you, the more recovery and your rift comes back. So if you're overwhelmed with Vesper based on the amount of enemies around you, this thing is going to be powerful, man. I'm telling you, people are going to start really, I'm giving y'all a game right now. People are going to start using those two exotics. They're going to have a lot of functionality if done right. I'm very excited for that rift. I'm with you, man. I think that rift is going to be very, very, very effective. Very effective. For me, I mean, look, Shadebinder sounds cool. I love the whole, let me get my Lord of the Rings, let me get my Gandalf on, you know what I'm saying? I'm feeling that, you know what I'm saying? And then I think I gotta see how it works with the freeze and the shatter mechanic, how that works, if I'm the person that can do it, if I have both the ability. You know what vibe I'm getting? I think we talked about it, is Anthem. I'm getting Anthem, Primer, and what you call
Primer
it, vibes.
And Detonator?
Yes. So I'm getting that each class will have a primer and a detonator. And one will be that, freezing, and the other one will be shatter. And then where we combine, each class can combine, like, yo, I did them, now you do yours. And then we can really get cool, because that's one thing. I know Anthem gets a lot of crap, but me and E always fight for it. And it says they did introduce some cool things, just they didn't have no end game, but they introduced some really cool things. And I think this is Destiny stealing from Anthem a little bit. E, what you think? I'm gonna bring it back to you, man. After you sneeze. But yeah, I think that I love this ability. I think this is really cool. I'm hyped, man. I'm hyped to see more of it. I'm hyped to see what other functionality you got. But what you got, E?
So for me on the Warlock, I'm kind of with Myfi on the fact that, like, with the explosion from the staff, if all that does is shatter, that feels like an issue. I feel like at first, like, if shattered or if frozen, should shatter. If not frozen, should freeze. Like, it should do both.
Okay.
But, like, you know, if you shoot it from a projectile, you go up, and there's still more guys coming. If you shatter some of them, but the rest of them that say maybe were marching towards you, those should be frozen. If it doesn't work that way, and the other one's just, like, some damage, and the freeze isn't there too, I feel like it doesn't function how it should in my head, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that's how that works. Now, the fact that, and we'll kind of get to this too, the melee is basically the same as what your super does. So the melee is the same, like the projectile for freezing. Now it looks like a smaller version. That's what they do when they freeze the hunter in PvP in the little footage we have.
Right.
And then that's the one where it's like, it's a melee, frozen hunter, and then bam, sniper shot, pops them, shatters them. So there are other ways to shatter. But yeah, the primer detonator seems kind of like the way they're going to go. Maybe it's like set him up, knock him out. I just don't know how required the frozen before shattering is going to be, especially for the super, for the Warlock. Overall, I think it's pretty cool. Just like if you, and especially if you can just like projectile, just like freeze half a room or something.
Bro.
And then especially just the Titan starts running through just slides, and you can just like clear half a room.
Bro, let me
like
tell
that's
you,
got
man.
potential.
One thing I'm sorry, get Myfi, I'll let you go. I got something after you.
So like my other question is like who, especially for like PvP or you know like PvE because it generates orbs because it is a super, like who gets credit for the kill?
Yo, that sounded so KD-ish. Yo,
no, I'm being honest. Like, who gets credit for the kill?
I'd say whoever
if it is a priming and a detonator type style, like who will get credit for the
Guardian's death? You could set him up, but if you don't finish him, you only did half the work. You got to be the one that explodes them.
But what if you can't finish them because
then you failed at your job?
Primer.
You did half the job.
But what about the other guy that came in
I can weaken a guy with
but he's going to shatter and take the kill.
As the king of assists, by the way, I can tell you, I can throw grenades out all day and hurt people, but if I don't get that last bullet in, that's all them and not me. Believe me, I'm the king of assists. I'll have a KDA that looks higher than it should because I tagged a bunch of people, but haven't killed anybody in the entire match.
Yo,
so
shout out to Myfi for being messy at the KD report or Stasis. He like, that's nice, but who's getting the credit?
That's what I'm wondering.
Salute to you for being messy. I love it. Your PvP messy is lit, man. I gotta respect that. Yo. It's a good question.
I'm gonna have to say, whoever does the shattering gets the. Okay, they have the footage. The Titan comes down, does the slam, and freezes. The Warlock comes in and does the shatter. The Warlock just got all those kills. I have to assume.
I would assume too. I would assume too.
That's the way I would. That's the way I would read the situation. You're gonna get a lot of assists, but I don't think you got those kills.
Fiat says he bought this have over
9,000 assists. I don't even. My assist number is probably insanely high. I'm sure. I punch too much and I assist too much. I just can't kill anything. So
what I was gonna say before Myfi had the most hilarious line, was that one thing that was really cool as far as the freezing melee is one thing I loved about when they redid Top Tree Dawnblade, right? Is we finally had a projectile, that solar projectile
fire.
Raw, right? I love Celestial Fire. It's something cool about having a projectile melee. So to have this, again, giving y'all some exotic game, man. Let's get them claws of Amankara out. Let's dust them off, man. Get two of those bad boys. You know what I'm saying? Start freezing things up, man. What you think, man?
What's the exotic that restores health on melee kill?
Oh, that's my baby. That's
what I was looking for.
That's almost becoming my number one. You're talking about
what is it?
No.
The little exotic with your fingertips.
Karnstein amulets.
Yeah, that's it.
Woo! Ooh, that was about, those have now skyrocketed to almost my number one as far as hardcore PvE content, because that slap will keep you alive. You get that continuous energy going up to keep you. You know who uses it too? I gotta shout him out. Shout out to, I think it was Ares. I was watching Ares one time.
He doesn't play a warlock.
I thought it was him. If somebody was watching, maybe it wasn't Ares.
It's like Ares is a hunter through and through.
He's a hunter. You're correct. You're correct. It was somebody else I was watching that was doing solo prophecy, and they had Karnsteins on. I'm like, you know what? I gotta use them more. They're so effective. So effective.
They are.
Believe me, one of my Titan solo flawless runs was ruined by a not quite punch. So if that little heal would have been in there, believe me, yeah. But my Titan was. I did that on the wrong subclass, but I finished. So anyway, got the emblem either way, even if it took me like I think it was 4 damage phases too. So
no doubt,
patient and persistent. So Warlock, Shadebinder. Now, I wanted to ask you guys this. We'll get to the Titan here in just a minute because that's more me. This is you guys. The way they have these subclasses set up, this is kind of they've mentioned as an experiment with the way they want to do subclasses. This, like when we got the Warlock articles, the first time we got to see aspects, and we also got to see fragments. Now, the aspect specifically is one of those things that you equip, and that's what allows your rift to freeze. Without that, it won't be doing that. So we know that's how that functionality gets there. We also have the fragments, which are going to say defeating frozen targets with weapons grants you super energy. So you have this way to like customize your build, which seems fairly cool.
Right.
But you have one super. Now, if this is an experiment, and we'll dig into the aspects and fragments here in a little bit, I wanted to ask you guys, take your current subclasses, Arc, Solar, and Void.
Yeah.
If their experiment is to consolidate those down to one super, not 3, what do you want left for Arc, Solar, and Void?
Ooh.
What remains? So like Solar, you got top and bottom tree.
Dawnblade,
you got Well.
Good question.
What are you keeping?
It's a good question.
Yeah, you can only keep one.
Oh, I got my ideas, but I'll let mine get in there. Unless he want me to jump off.
So the
here we'll go.
What's your just to make sure
first? Go Solar
first.
So like, which one would I keep?
Yeah, you can only keep one super per subclass. So like, you can only keep one Solar super.
That's so tough because like I love top tree for like you know like
Solar especially is unique for each 3.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, we'll picture Golden Gun 3, 6, and then also Blade Barrage.
Yeah, for Solar on Warlock, top tree for just skirting all over the place, just going fast.
PvP, yeah.
Middle tree for you just. If you ain't got nothing else to run, I'd always just run middle tree. And then I've actually been recently using bottom tree just for because like as someone that always runs top tree for PvP and then middle tree for PvE, I've been experimenting with bottom tree because like even though top tree your Dawnblade does track a little bit, the tracking on bottom tree is unmatched.
And you keep getting it back a little bit when you get
and then like the solar explosions and stuff, which can then chain into like other kills. Such a good subclass. I really don't know if I could choose. I think that like if I was a PvP person, top tree. If I was a PvE person, I still want to say top tree because top tree is so much fun.
Top tree is so fun. Yeah, that's
it
tough.
is.
You gotta be picking between my kids.
You got two more sets of kids to go through, so pick fast.
It's tough, man. All right, look.
Okay, so next up is what?
No, hold on. I want to see Cognito Solar.
Okay.
Man. Oh, this is evil.
I get to do it to my Titan, so don't worry.
If I gotta say super, as much as I love Dawnblade, I think I gotta say Well, because Well is just
functionality.
It's just functionality, and it's the only out of the 3. It's the only support one. So if I'm gonna sacrifice the offensive supers, I'd sacrifice Dawnblade to keep Well. As far as I need my Celestial Fire, that's coming with me. So that's from the melee. Rifts are all pretty much the same. And the movement, I need my bird movement, that little free Twilight Garrison we got going on, you know what I'm saying? Like, I love that. So that's probably it. As far as the, the grenade. The grenades are the same, so,
just the super, just that side of the tree.
Just the super? Yeah.
The rest is all going to function the same way, because you get to pick your jump, you get to pick your grenade, you get to pick your class ability, the super side.
If I would say we got to keep, for balance, we'd have to keep Well. Because the other 2, when we get to them, Stormcaller offensive, whatever which one you want to keep, and then Nova Bomb is Nova Bomb, baby. You know what I'm saying? It is, So yeah, I hate that. I love Dawnblade. Don't get me wrong, especially Bottom Tree Dawnblade, especially. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's where I'm going right now. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. But
Myfi for Arc and Void, since he just went through his really fast.
I already know. Void, the Devour.
Yeah,
I love Devour. Like, that's so easy. Like, yeah, I've been experimenting around with Top Tree because I believe Devour is Bottom Tree, right?
You're right.
Okay, just making sure. Top Tree, I was actually, experimenting around looking for, some new builds to talk about and whatnot. And I think it was a Void Day for Solstice. And keep in mind, I only got one character done for Solstice, and I refused to do the other ones. I just couldn't do it anymore. But during one of those days, I was using Bottom Tree, and I was like, okay, slap on Graviton Lance. I finally got the Catalyst fully upgraded. Explosions, if I pudge something with a melee explosions, my Nova Bomb, hits and then explodes out and just like seeks things and whatnot. And I was like, I love Top Tree. Middle Tree, I absolutely cannot use ever. I do not like Middle Tree. Middle Tree, the only time that I liked it was whenever that grenade in that exotic
controversial. Yeah, believe me, I hated that damn thing. Handheld Supernova.
I hated it, but here's the thing: stuff I hate, like I also love using. So like,
yeah, that's natural.
Like, so I like PvP, man. I would just run around and throw that, but like I wouldn't even pop my super because the super was so bad. Like the super didn't make sense. Anytime I would pop super. It was just a running game until they eventually would just outrun me and my super would be over.
Yeah, that's a fact.
100%, it'd be Bottom Tree Devour.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to fight you. You're making all the valid points. I mean, I will say this, though. I do prefer, even though it's going to be Bottom Tree by landslide, I do prefer the Slova Bomb.
Oh, 100%,
It's something about the Slova that even though it's slow, you could not be accurate. And those 4 little projectiles then jump out and start seeking you. I love that. You know what I'm saying? And then another thing that's underrated about Top Tree is most people don't charge up the grenade.
Yeah.
Like you can make your Axions crazy more powerful and then make them split into 3s. You know what I mean? Like I love throwing that. So I actually use Top Tree a lot for PvP actually. But Devour. Like it's just
so hard to beat.
So hard to beat. Then you get the constant Devour cycle. If you kill someone with the grenade, then Devour kicks in. If you kill someone with a melee, Devour. Now remember they recently added when you kill someone with the super, Devour. You know what I'm saying? And it leaves the they actually buffed the the little bubble that remains after the Nova on Bottom Tree super.
Vortex.
Yeah.
So
and
it's just so powerful. And then like I said, we both love Karnsteins. You throw Karnstein in you're tanking stuff.
Now here's the thing. I'm not going to run. So like my build with Devour is like the stars have to align. The stars have to align for this to work. And they are currently aligned right now with the seasonal artifact. Throw on some armor-piercing rounds on a void weapon with Nezarec Sin, Bottom Tree, and then throw on Breach Resignator, and you're 100% getting every, like, supers are back, like, within, like, a minute. You have constant grenades, melees. It's disgusting. It's one of the builds that I've talked about before. And
beautiful.
And then on top of that, because you're running Void, now you can also throw on Oppressive Darkness.
Oh, throw Oppressive Darkness, and then let's just get real crazy, right? Let's just void out if you have a kinetic with osmosis, and that becomes void. Then whatever your middle and you void out and you got Nazareth on and you just get an ability.
Devour is nasty. Devour is nasty.
With Guillotine, we will lock them right now. Hold on. That with Guillotine, and what's the Lucent Blade, the new joint, bro, with the keen that kick in, I could solo stuff. Like it's really powerful. So I would have to give it up to you on that. Now, one last thing before we move on. I know Middle Tree's getting killed, but I used to like Middle Tree for PvP. Like it was obnoxious for a minute.
Warp? Yeah, Nim would be
obnoxious for a minute. They run away, but if you could literally, I could boof people through walls. I was doing stuff that I was like, they gonna nerf this. Remember E when that?
Oh yeah, they did. I don't know round, sadly.
We did Last Word, and when that class debuted, I'm like, when people get a hold of this, they are going to nerf this. It is so ridiculous. And then Supernova handle, which he loves, that's his favorite.
The controversial handheld Supernova cannot stand that crap in PvP. It was bad.
But that's all I got for what you got. What we got? Arc. Oh Lord, that's tough. That's tough. I'll jump off.
Chaos Reach or Lightning Fingers.
All right, Lightning Fingers is the win most likely, but I ain't gonna lie to you. My little Dragon Ball Z joint, man, is bad, powerful for solo cutting, man. I hate it in PvP, but in PvE, like that's my Gambit build. I'll use that in Geomags, and I'll rip through stuff. But I think ultimately Palpatine does win. The question I gotta ask Myfi though, this is the tough one. Do you take Arc Buddies over, or do you take Arc Buddies and what's the Thunder Crash, whatever the one where you just do it and they explode whoever's in the radius? Or do you take the teleporting of Top Tree with the whole, the arc web grenades, that chain, and like that's my only, it's tough for me. You know what I'm saying? So where are you at?
So I don't remember if it was a exotic or if it was a subclass like selection in D1 that whenever Stormtrance came out, I think it was a subclass selection where you would always get Landfall. That's what you were thinking about. Yes. Landfall. I can't remember which one it was, but Landfall with, and correct me if I'm wrong, Arc Buddies is on the Landfall one, right?
Yes,
I think it's
that's
top
bottom
tree.
That's bottom tree.
Yeah, bottom tree. I don't know what it is. Like, I can't get away from it. I love Landfall so much, and plus the whole, I believe if it's your melee and your super, or no, your melee and your grenade are filled when you pop it, then it extends its duration.
That's Top Tree Transcendence.
That's Top Tree, yeah.
Wait, that's Top Tree?
Yeah, it's tough, bro. It's there's two great perks for each one to separate. Yeah,
it is. Now I don't use Middle Tree. I'm gonna be 100%. I recently got a good pair of Geomags.
With the intellect build, bro. Geomags with a high intellect. And then you get topping off Chaos Reach every 5 seconds. Bro, you gotta run it, man. I'm telling you. Run a high intellect.
I have never been a Middle Tree guy.
So I would say I agree with you. Shout out to New Rad. God bless you. You could use Middle Tree and PvP. I can't. God bless you. The reason why I would say give it a try with a high intellect build is not only like it is extreme DPS against bosses with Geomag. And then the other thing is people sleep on ionic traces. So what it is, it almost acts like a mini, Crown of Tempest. Because what will happen is you keep getting kills, and those little traces come back and they're giving you super energy, melee energy, grenade. Like it's a little flow. It's powerful, man. Like trust me, it's very underrated. I know the other two, if you put a gun in my head, are better. I feel so, but I've had a lot of effectiveness with it, man. Gotta give it a shot. Give it a shot one time. But
yeah,
back to yourself.
I think it was this most recent GM. One of our teammates actually ran Chaos Reach, and we were putting in some good damage. I think we actually ended up beating it with his Chaos Reach, but I've just never. I don't know. It's like Arc is my most underused. Like I don't use it hardly at all. Them.
So the Arc is like what is it? Is it Void for you first, and then Solar, or is it Solar first?
Solar, Void, and then Arc. Arc is dead last. I rarely ever use it for PvE or PvP because like I feel like Top Tree is more dominant. Or I feel like Top Tree, if you can master the movement, which I know I haven't, but I've just seen someone with a mastery of Top Tree and like how fast they can move and how evasive they are. Top Tree, I believe, is like 100% the best PvP class for a Warlock. Now I've seen some people that are nasty on Arc or on Stormtrance for PvP, but I don't know. It's just something about someone with a Top Tree that has mastery over the movement. That I feel like that's just king for when it comes to Warlock subclasses for PvP, and then for PvE, it's like you have as well, you have or you can run like Oppressive Darkness with like a Void subclass. I
feel you on that.
Arc is just one of those things that I just kind of look over. I just never use it.
I feel you. Listen, man, you're making valid points. Nothing you said is incorrect. Like I said, I think I do use Arc a little bit more. I think for me, it's tough. You're right. It's tough because both, It's I think
I love making you guys uncomfortable. This is fun.
Actually, I'm gonna say something controversial. I would say I use solar less than most. Solar is probably my least used. Not that it's not good, because everything you said with the movement and everything you said with the well, but it's something about being very offensive. I like about. I mean, well, Void is number one for me as far as functionality. I feel you can just survive everything, and Void I actually use for PvP as well. So I would say Arc is my middle. I'm gonna go Arc in my middle. So don't get me wrong, but it's all close. Solar is great. You know what I'm saying?
You're a helpful raid you're a helpful warlock in those raids, running those wells all the time.
Yeah.
No, you're not.
I use it when I have to though.
Yeah.
I use it when I have to, but I don't like to just be that sole use. But it's super effective.
So I mean, I don't know if that's what they're going to do, is actually slowly roll that out. Yeah, I was literally talking to one of my streams about this stuff too, and I'm saying potentially if we get stasis this season, the experiment of how they rolled out the subclass, they kind of narrowed it down to one. We'll see if aspects change stuff up with the super, see how fun those are to use. I was wondering over the course of this next season if they want to be like, okay, we're going to spend each season on a subclass and be like, season 13 is Arc, season 14 is Solar, season 15 is Void. Do you think, I want to see if you think that's how they could, make that shift over the course of this year?
I think so. I think this is the ultimate evolution of where things are going. I think they've continually repeated. Luke Smith has continually repeated. We like they donned the MMO name finally, right? Remember before they would dodge that. They want to get back to this hardcore stuff. I think that, Stasis represents the direction they want to go with stuff classes, which is a little better, some D1 nuances, but an evolution of it and making it better. And I love the pick and choose. I love that, because we all have to admit the way it is with D2 right now, you're stuck that whole thing. And it's something we right now we're like killing ourselves cringing if we had to pick based on your great question.
Well, then what if your two aspects were going to be like, hey, if I'm going to run the Arc subclass, I've got Arc Buddy and I've got Blink with my super.
Yeah, bro.
Like, I mean, and you choose to put those together.
Choose the joint. And that's what I miss about D1. That having that customization of your subclass is so powerful. That's what I miss. And this is D1 stuff. Why I love it. You know what I'm saying? It becomes personal. It becomes your warlock build.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, there will be an optimal, but yeah, you can still. I'll enjoy watching people like the Cammy Cakes, like the Drewskis, who like dig into the tiny little nuances of this one little build and make their little nugget of their own build that nobody else thinks about. And they're like, I'm just the counter to you. And it took a long time for them to make it, but those are going to be the fun ones to see all the variety.
Yeah, my last point, and shout out to Halton, it's not an MMO yet, I agree, but this is the direction they want to go. And I'm all about promoting that. That's what I'm saying. Like, they took away, that's why I was so angry with D2. They took away my choice. They told me I have to do this with this cloud. I'm like, since when? Why are we doing this? Like, why can't I pick and choose? I remember Solar, Viking Funeral, and this, and picking the type of Nova Bomb I wanted, and like that's what I miss. But go ahead, Myfi. What you think? You think this is the evolution of this thing?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go ahead and say that. I mean, I don't see anything like where I could potentially counter argue that it should stay the same, and instead, or it should stay how it is now. I do like the fact that we're gonna be able to kind of pick and choose. So it's like, okay, I want to run Arc today, but I don't have to run like I'm not bound to the constraints of like what's on middle tree or what's on top tree or what's on bottom tree. I can kind of like pick and choose from within the Arc subclass, and I think builds are going to be really fun. And I'm really looking forward to it.
Big time.
Yeah.
E, think so?
I mean, that's my guess. I'm the one who said it in the first place. So
yeah.
But I mean, I like the idea of what potentially the aspects in the fragments bring, because the aspects, depending on how many you have, how much customization they get to them. I mean, maybe you have a Slova Bomb versus a Nova Bomb. And then you also look into some of the aspects themselves actually have more fragment slots than it looks like others do. So maybe an aspect that changes your super to be something more substantial, it has less fragment slots, but an aspect that makes your rift freeze people gives you more fragments for a little more customization that way. So I'm that because they have the number of like fragment slots, and then you see the choices down there. I'm like, and they're not all the same. They're like not all aspects are created equal. So I'm kind of wondering how that's
I'm sorry.
No, and then like the fragments, and one other person I want to ask you guys too was wondering. They're like, oh, I don't want to grind for these things. I'm like, I don't in my mind picture these as being insanely hard to acquire. Right. More just like giving you the options of custom. I was wondering how you guys think you're going to acquire the aspects and the fragments for these subclasses. Is it going to be a quest line, or is it just going to be random drops till you get them?
What do you think?
Because I don't picture them having. There's not going to be like they're not going to be random rolled. Like, hey, I got a fragment that's got like minus strength, and I'm like, cool with that as opposed to minus recovery from my warlock. Yeah. Like, I think the fragments and the aspects are going to be like certain set, and then you build from there. Would be my guess. But I wonder how you guys think we'll acquire those.
Think, man. What you think, Myfi?
So I would say, I don't know, because like I feel like fragments are reminding me a lot of like mods and stuff. And I remember we used to get mods via like weapon drops, I believe, is kind of like what I'm drawing from. Right. It's one of those things where I think it's gonna be tied to something. Like, it's not just you're just gonna go out in the world and open a chest and find a fragment, you know. Like, I feel like it's gonna be tied to something, maybe like armor, or like you'll dismantle it and you'll throw it. But I don't see how it would work with armor, because armor doesn't go on fragments. Where like mods, of course, would go on weapons, and you could dismantle them and put them on a certain weapon you wanted. I don't see, I mean, I remember fragments kind of remind me of like Seeds of Light, just not to that like extreme extent where a Seed of Light was, okay, you get an entirely new subclass tree, where fragments are more of like kind of like little modifications and stuff. I could see it being bound as like kind of like it could be in like Nightfalls and stuff like that. Ooh. Where, because I know like Master Nightfalls or Grandmaster, one of the two, or Nightfalls in general, had a high chance for enhanced mods to drop. Yep. So I think that they'll be kind of like, you know, you can get them here, you can get them there, but if you want to like a really high chance, it's going to be tied to kind of like sort of like an in-game type thing.
No, I feel you. I mean, they've got a lot of possibilities with this. To your previous point, E, I think it's almost with the fragment thing. I just wanted to double down. Like, I think they're almost gonna go with how they. I think they kind of gave us a preview of how they did with the armor slots, right? Where it's like, okay, you know, like intellect costs 5, right, and this costs, you know, whatever. So I think it's gonna be cost so that you can't just get too crazy with everything. There's gonna be limits, because some abilities they know are going to be powerful, and then as you can see. And a lot of these pictures that I'm seeing right now, I'm seeing like Whisper of Bonds. Okay, if you put that on, defeats frozen targets with weapons, grants you super energy. It's pretty powerful, right? So, but what they're doing is, okay, minus 10 intellect, minus 10 discipline the minute you put that on. So there's like checks and balances with certain things, right? Now I
wish they didn't do that so much though.
They have to, bro. It could get crazy. They have to, bro.
The stats, they can be beneficial, but it's just like it bugs me that that's how they balance stuff.
What would you prefer?
Just take the stats off of there. The stats are not that game breaking in the first place, especially for, I mean, you can have good builds, but that's literally the point. So let me choose how I want to play and then still lose stats. That just still bugs me a little bit.
I feel it. So you feel it's like counterintuitive to the customization.
Yeah, it's like, hey, I want to customize, but I take a penalty to do it.
Right. No, I get what you're saying. I mean, it don't feel good. Like I know where you're going, and it's Daddy Bungie. You know how they do. It's like, you know, we want you to have fun.
I can't say. Hey, no, I'm still gonna say I don't like it.
I know. Listen, no, I'm not saying you're right. You know, I'm all about.
I was like, balance the stuff in a different way, as opposed to be like, oh, you got this like hope.
It's like you got this, but then
you get the slap. Yeah, you get the slap. You can't be too good.
You can't get too crazy. Gotta
be in check.
We're gonna let you play, but just don't go past this yard. Like that's where they at. This is Daddy
the
Bungie.
Dog fence. You know, you gotta stay within these boundaries.
It's you're absolutely right. And I would love, you know, I like when they get crazy. You know what I'm saying? I like when they get crazy. But I do hear what you're saying. To Myfi's point, you know, it would be cool to throw these into, like you said, Nightfalls and, you know, high-end activities to say, okay, if you want to, there's a higher chance, you know, you can get that joint if you run this or that Master Nightfall and, you know, just get people in these different activities to get it. Now, obviously it will be some controversy if they put him, even though I love PvP, if they put him in PvP, because I could tell the PvE community going to be upset if they, do that. But me, I don't mind. Get your behind in PvP and play these other things.
Mix it up. Things are going to be broken. Deal with it.
Deal with it, bro.
There's always something in this game that's broken. Like, that's not good.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. But that's what I got. But Shadebinder, overall, I'm super excited. This is the type of customization I want. I want to choose how my Warlock is. I'm hyped, man. This is the D1 type stuff I like. So I'm in. What else we got?
Well, we got subclass number 2.
Ooh, let's
Mine. I've been letting you guys talk I'm just been sitting back here and be like, I'll just mute my.
I'll
just be over here watching you guys talk about the Warlocks, letting you guys have your fun.
Let's get it. Titan time. It's your time.
The sad thing about the Titan, I will tell you.
Okay, let's get it.
It feels too much like Ark.
It does. I didn't want to say it.
I
felt that way too.
I'm going to call a spade a spade. It feels like Ark with a nice skin on it. That's in my head how I feel about this one. Now, freezing stuff, the come down and then punching to shatter. But literally, when you watch the B-roll, from the press kit, when you watch the gameplay, come down and shatter and then punch. So land in arc and then you punch. It feels. I'm not saying they didn't do different animations because the colors and the effects are going to look the same, but the movement still feels very free. Yeah, there you go. Hall.
Freezy Arc.
Hail and Teresa. I'm trying to make sure I read it right. Freezy Arc. Yeah, I'm like, it's Freezy Arc. It's, it's not going to have Thunder Crash to it. You're not going to be able to go quite that far, but it does feel like, Striker.
Do you feel you feel cheapened, sir? Do you feel, dare I say, it was a little lazy?
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
I mean, for me, it feels a little. Now, the melee has more potential. It's got the slowing upon impact. It's got knockback on your enemy, and you kind of plow through what you're going for. So the melee Shiver Strike seems like it has potential to actually do some cool stuff. As for ground control, I mean, the Ice Quake kind of looks cool. For the freezing, I mean, it is all about the, prime, detonator, freezing, shatter. So you're going to literally land, shatter everything in front of you, turn around and punch it, which seems kind of cool in theory. But I was like, it doesn't have a different feel. Like you guys, now granted, if you look at the Warlock, that's a Nova Bomb, or that's a Nova Warp explosion.
Right, the explosion.
And then you have your projectile, which is any projectile. So again, it's like, I guess we're seeing here is we're like, as we were joking, I think last time, where we're like, hey, maybe in Witch Queen we get a darkness subclass from that one, and maybe in Lightfall we have 3 and 3 by the time we're all done with these next 3 years. These don't feel as different as I would like them to get me excited about 3 more, to set everything apart. Because if it's, hey, it's a Nova Warp, but it's got ice on it. Hey, it's a Striker, but it's got ice on it. And what's the Hunter? It's a Blade Barrage with pickaxes. And it's a throwing knife, but it's a bouncy ninja star. So I mean, and I'm not trying to bash Bungie's work. Sorry, guys.
No.
But it is one of those.
We gotta keep it real at the last word.
It's one of those to where it feels to me like these are skins of supers. They don't stand out to be on their own. Like Nova Bomb, Chaos Reach, Blade Barrage, Dawn Blade. So you got Thunder Crash. What? But they all sound.
So proud of you right now. So
they're all cool. These feel like skins of supers with ice. And and that's harsh to say. I was that's harsh for me to say before Beyond Light comes out, because that's just what I read. So yeah, see, Jixel is saying pickaxe Blade Barrage. So it's So it was not to be Debbie Downer in here, because apparently you guys I didn't say anything for 20 minutes of coming here and just shut down the podcast.
No, bro. You in your bag. I'm proud. This is stuff Cognito says it gets killed. So I'm glad you said it. So I'm not that it got killed by you. I'm just saying sometimes other people kill me. Because I don't want to be Debbie Downer either. But I felt that in my heart too. But I was like, I'm just going to keep this in. I want to see what people say.
No, I will call a spade a spade. I will absolutely do that.
To be honest with you, I'm completely. I kind of noticed the same thing. Of course, it wasn't as apparent with the Warlock and the Hunter as it was with the Titan. I remember, as soon as we saw that first little clip of that Titan
Oh.
Literally, someone in my chat goes, "Oh, nice, Thunder Crash is back, but it's icy," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's pretty much what it is." But like when you start looking at the other subclasses, it's like, "Oh, like that really is just an icy blade barrage," or "Oh, that really is just a Nova Warp. It's just now you're holding a staff and it's ice." To be honest, I don't get me wrong, I'm looking forward to stasis, but what I'm more looking forward to is the further what we were just talking about, where you can like kind of pick and choose from each tree. Like that's honestly like that's what I'm looking forward to the most.
Yeah. I'm with Myfi. That's what's saving me from not going in, right?
Yeah.
Because I was like, everything E is saying, I felt, but I was like, if I say that, I'm gonna get killed. I was like, they're gonna be like, he's a hater.
Well, that's why we share a podcast. If you don't, I will, vice versa.
Exactly. So I just want to see what people say. And then once he said it, it's literally the only thing is what you just said, Myfi, which I was like, you know what? But I will live with it because they're giving me customization on abilities and how I want to do things. So in that regard, okay, I'm gonna let you rock with your little icy skin, you know what I'm saying? On certain things. And then, whatever. But no, I'm with y'all. I'm with both of y'all. Completely agree with y'all. 100.
So it's like, and then Hale and Teresa says it means might be hard to come up with like creative supers. Like, so you sit there and we joked about, hey, Witch Queen's going to introduce another subclass and then, or an elements, because everything about the Witch Queen and Savathun's always this green stuff. The only element we don't have yet is green for sure. So at some point, that thing feels like it could potentially come with her coming back. We get some like hive powers. Again, if it's like another reskin, it kind of hurts. So it's like they have some cool stuff out there. Yeah. I just hope this is maybe what they're stuck with. This is maybe what we get. Yeah, it's like, and then we sit here and like wonder what exotics are going to come from this. Like,
so let me ask you as a Titan. I'm going to ask you, like, as a Titan, with what you're seeing, you know what I'm saying? You're seeing Tectonic Harvest here. I'm seeing Whisper of Endurance, slow from your abilities, last longer. Like, are you thinking of any builds, exotic-wise, as a Titan that maybe excites you with stasis that you can come up with?
I mean, from what I can see, the Whisper of Durance, it says slow from your abilities last longer.
Yeah.
The only slow we have is from the melee punch, because that's the melee punch on impact slows those around you, so they will slow longer, and that does give you 10 to strength as a plus, because that's a melee ability, so that does go hand in hand. As for builds, I mean... I haven't even honestly thought that deep about it. I've been playing a lot of Avengers, to be completely honest.
It's so good.
Understandable.
It's like Avengers has been fun. I mean, so there's a lot of the exotics for the Titan that are, acting warrior based on weapons. You got, Dune Marchers with shoulder charge. If it's a shoulder charge type, could be not Dune Marchers. Mark 44 stand-asides. That one. Okay. So that one, if Shiver Strike, because I heard somebody, I think it might have been Miss 5000 Watt said it on DCP. They're like, the Shiver Strike is, someone said it like the most powerful melee they built. Because it does have the knockback, it has the slowing effect, it kind of plows through enemies to your target. And I was like, well, you combine that with Mark 44 stand-asides, you get that back more frequently. That's got potential.
Yes, sir.
Syntheseps would definitely be one.
Chat says Heart of Inmost Light.
Yeah, so Heart of Inmost Light is going to be the healing pulse when the barricade is active.
Right.
Maybe. And then, again, this is like, how creative do they get? Does your well freeze? Do I get an aspect that my wall shoots out a freezing wave in front of it? Where it's like, class abilities freeze. Is there a Hunter one where as you dodge, kind of like the Bombardiers, there's a freezing effect around? Like, is this feedback fence? That might have been another one. Actually, just got one of those. So, like, all of those, I'm wondering, like, is it just going to be, hey, when you're doing, like, here's this little blast of frozen stuff that happens with your class ability? I'm curious to see how deep they go on these things, because they have decent ideas, but they don't always flesh everything out as much as I hope in the beginning. So if we have, like, 3 or 4 of each thing, it's going to be like, yeah, okay, there's 2 good ones, 2 bad ones, we're good, and there's not as much customization. If there are, like, 10 different ones, and they really think them through, and you get some cool customization, and they actually get to a little... powerful aspects to them, then I could get excited. But until I actually think about it, like Helmos 814 can't do anything. Mask of the Quiet One, that's just all the time. That one's okay. I'm literally looking through them. Solar Rampart, solar damage, One-Eyed Mask. I mean, there's only so many. Insurmountable Skull Fort is arc melee abilities. There's a lot that are specific to like certain classes for the Titan. that I'm not actually seeing a whole bunch that are going to be.
And again, not to hate on D2 again, but again, this is my problem with D2 exotics or too class or ability specific, where that it's tied to you have to use it with
Oh,
this.
there's so many exotics in D2 that
Yeah.
need love. There's so many that need love.
Yeah.
And don't even get me started that our class item doesn't even have like my class item doesn't have stats on it that give a damn. Like you get 3 class items for you're done for a year. Like there's
I feel exotics in D2 sometimes are way too safe.
Yeah.
Way too safe.
Well, I mean, that's when you're saying like Daddy Bungie doesn't want stuff to be broken, but then there's 75% of the exotics that a lot of people don't touch unless you're like, hey, let me pull this one thing out for this one little build about this one thing that works for like this one nugget of place.
That's my problem.
Yeah,
That, again, my D1 argument, because let me give you an example. Let's talk Warlock with Myfi for a second. You know what's the coolest looking exotic they just debuted? What is it, Prometheus Spur? The one that when you're in Dawnblade, when you're in Dawnblade and you kill someone, a rift appears. I'm like, what?
Yeah, that doesn't.
When am I
Let me
using
make
this?
rifts everywhere else but where I am.
Where I am, I'm just gonna kill Rand. I'm like, okay, you got a build? Oh, baby, Myfi got a build I don't know about.
No, that's the exotic at the end of Shadowkeep, right? That you got, or at the end of like.
I think it was Shadowkeep.
Never touched it.
Thank
Never
you.
touched the exotic. I saw one review on it, and
I was like,
I think it was Imtash's review. And he was like, why would you use this? And I was like, all right, bet I'm not using it.
That's my problem with D2. It's so, it frustrates me and the exotic looks so cool. You know what I'm saying?
It does.
And it's just like, why would it be locked to this very specific, obscure activity? You know what I'm saying?
Well, like, it's even like a class ability like rifts, but hold on, there's all these guys across the map and I just killed them all. All the rifts are over there. Are we going to go over there now? No, I'm still in cover. I don't know about you. Like, I'm not going over there.
And then what pains me is it takes them so long, if ever, to rework an exotic that is useless.
Yeah.
Like they clearly have there's no way in Bungie they don't have a board with the statistic usage of each exotic, right?
Oh, there's got to be like 5 or 6, like a bar graph like this tall, 5 or 6 on the top that are like way out here, and then the rest are like 0.1%.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, this so, and you know how we feel about exotic armor specifically.
Exotic
right?
should be exotic, and half of them suck.
Yeah, and it's just like they need to be a rework team, right? For armor. The armor gets no love.
Well, here's the issue: is like they don't even need a rework team. They need to make them interesting when they come out in the first place.
Yeah, like who said finish? He said, you know what Dawnblade needs?
Yeah, like
who was in the meeting room?
Who's doing this?
Yo, you know
I can make rifts over there. I can make them over there. It's so cool. What are you doing with them?
Smack that dude.
I want to be in that pitch where like this person created, this person approved it. Somebody above was like, cool, let's put that in there. And somebody's going to spend time to build an art asset, which looks amazing, on something nobody uses.
That nobody uses. Budgie, I love y'all. But it's just like, man.
I was like, I wonder sometimes.
Sometimes, bro.
Especially this season's exotic, or this year, a lot of this year's exotics have been questionable. I like for my Titan. I can't remember one of the ones where.
What's the one?
If I do a finisher punch, I get an explosion around it. Titan's Ramparts. That's it.
Yes.
No, okay. Now Titan's Ramparts, you can shoot through your towering barricade. That's not bad.
That's not bad.
That's
not
actually
bad.
pretty
I like
good.
that.
That one's not bad.
I like that.
But the one where it's like, if you punch or do a finisher, a melee ability kill or a finisher, you get an explosion. And the bigger thing you punch, the bigger the explosion. You're telling me you want me to go punch a boss? You're out of your ever-loving mind, Stomp Mechanic. Like,
he ain't lying. Hey, yo, exotic armor. Whoever's on the exotic armor team, we gotta have a conversation.
Well, then, like, okay, so we gotta have a conversation. We get Beyond Light, we get 3 more exotics, and we're sitting here like, I don't know how many exotics we're gonna get. Again, expansion, hopefully get more than 3, but how many did he get with Shadowkeep? They introduced them throughout the seasons, but I can't hardly tell you many of them that came out all year long.
Weapons have been better. You know, shout out to Effigy, shout out to Witherhorde. I did like, thought those were better. I really thought those were unique. But exotic armor, Bungie, we need to have an intervention. We have to sit down, and we have a problem. and if you're not going to make new ones, then we need to rework old ones that are not getting any use. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, you had the Sanguine Alchemy that truly like changed its functionality.
That was cool. But let's be honest, E. We know
it's
damn
still
well
not getting used that much.
It didn't get used that much, but we know damn well that was getting changed because the original perk allowed you to put the rift down and see people, and they knew trials was coming. So that was out of necessity so trials would be broken. That's the real reason why that was joined. It was making up. But continue.
No, it's just, apparently this is an exotic rant. But I mean, we've talked about this before. It was like, I mean, when we started our podcast in the middle of Curse of Osiris, still don't know how we did it. We're at episode 119, so thank God it made it. But we're at a point there, and I cannot remember how many times I screamed into the microphone, not literally, but I was just like, exotic should be exotic. And right now, again, it was that time where not a lot of, like, the weapons weren't feeling it. How many people pick a Gnawing Hunger, and the only exotics you typically use are heavies?
Yeah.
Yep. One, either because you have to, because of barrier mods or the mods that you have to use in the first 2 slots. And then you're looking at, so there's so many weapons that you don't get use out of that we've all acquired. And Xur is this weird thing.
And we need to put that vote for you, which is the exotic, being able to use the thing, the anti-barrier and all that stuff. So we can, how fun would it be to use Rat King, you know, with an overload thing on it, right? Yeah. Like allow the slot for the champion stuff to be on exotics. So then those old exotics get functional. How fun it would be to use a lot of these exotics that no one uses anymore.
All weapons should just have an overload, a barrier, and the third one, unstoppable. Yeah. Every weapon should be able to use those. So you have a choice of what your loadout's going to be, of how you're going to attack it, not say, you get to play with these 5 weapons this season.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I think it's Bungie's way of pretty much just trying to like pretty much trying to force people not to use the same weapons for every season in hopes of then they won't get as much backlash of, oh, well, I just use the same guns all year. Like there's no point for me to go out and grind these different guns, where I think Bungie thought maybe it would actually do something, but at the end of the day, it's like, okay, well, I have a scout rifle, and I use that just for that one activity.
If you're going to make me use scout rifles, buff them for the love of God. Come Beyond Light.
Snipers, too.
Yeah, like snipers. I mean, they haven't even thrown the mods on specials. Like, what if you could, like why am I blanking on these things? Overload. Fusion rifle. Done. They're marching at you. Shut them down. Just hit them with like a few bolts, and they stop in place.
Yeah, scouts need love. Snipers need love. Shout out to I've been using a lot because I got the Callus finally. It was Borealis, and I'm like, man, Borealis is really effective. Too bad it doesn't hit hard. The snipers are just so trash that I'm just like, damn, this is really effective.
Borealis is used by the data people, Fallouts, the Mercules, and everybody else to measure distances. That is all that gun is used for. That's literally what it's used for.
No, you mean Darcy, though. Darcy. Darcy's
that's Darcy.
Yeah, Darcy's this one.
Borealis is the switch. Sorry.
Borealis is the switch one. But it's just funny, like you said, right? Darcy's just used for that.
Darcy is 100%. Now, it's like, they did get a buff to the damage. They gave it like 4x, but it's, are you going to use that over your other heavy slots? Like, Darcy, if it was a special, then you could use Delirium. And again, some of that stuff just, there's so much we don't know about Beyond Light. But there's so many things that I feel like we want that we're not going to get nearly enough to make like the shift. We're like, that's why some of us did want a D3 is because, bless you, a D3 is because you do get this like complete new slew of exotics. You get the new feeling of a whole lot of things. You get, and this is like still pushing it forward. And that was why I was like, when I talked about sunsetting exotics, like, there's at least when it comes to armor right now, they could sunset 75% of the exotics and you wouldn't bat an eye, and I know it.
Yeah, the thing is still though, the problem remains, even with sunsetting, is that they've got to be ballsy enough to make these things really effective. And especially that's why I don't even have confidence with that, because it's like with the new stuff that they're adding, let's just say they did sunset. Let's say stuff was sunset. It's like, again, I hate to pick on you, Prometheus Spur, but I have to do it. It's like when they create things like that, I'm just like, I don't have confidence. It's armor weapon wise, Yes. They always do something fun. They always do something creative. Whoever's on the weapon team, but I don't know if they understaffed on the armor team. I don't know if that was Vicarious Visions. I don't know if that was how. Whoever's on the armor team, we gotta have a talk. What are y'all doing? What are y'all doing? And I'm never a disrespectful person, but it's been too many seasons now. We've been talking about this since we started. When last word was Flashpoint.
Yeah, we had a different name.
We've been talking about this. Ain't something like me and E have been fighting the good fight for exotic armor and armor in general. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like it's just so behind. It's like it's not a priority, and that's the frustration because this game could be so much more, and it's just the resources are either limited or being put towards other things, and we would like that to change.
They still make it a weapon-focused shooter.
Yes.
And the armor is very much been a second that. Armor 2.0 is a step in the right direction, but 3.0 still needs to happen. And sadly, not happening for a year because we know Solstice of Heroes armor is going to last for a year. So there's not going to be any major change to armor. And as soon as I heard that news, my heart dropped.
I know. I felt it. We got more time. We need more time is needed, unfortunately. It just sucks. But at the end of the day, we will say this. I know this is I've been bashing a little bit, but we do understand. Them. I know me too. I'm not gonna throw you in the bus. We'll die on that sword together. But at the end of the day, we understand. Low resources. You're on your own. You got to pick and choose your battles. But we have to be balanced with the things that need attention. And right now, anti-cheat, armor, these are things that if you don't start fixing, people are going to stop playing. Especially those aspects of the game. You know what I mean? And we don't want that. We want this game to flourish. We want this thing to live. And I'm going to continue to rant. I'm going to run down on some people.
They talk about an MMORPG. Mm-hmm. 5 of your character slots, more than half of the majority of your character slots feel kind of neglected. Like stats don't have as much effect. You're talking about cooldown times. Mobility doesn't even make you run faster. Like if they want to embrace the RPG, stats got to matter too. So that's the whole armor side of your characters, half of it. And that's what you think about an RPG. You have usually maybe 1 or 2 weapon slots, and it's all about the armor, the artifacts, the helm. So many pieces to an RPG. And if they want to embrace it, there's a lot that goes into that they're not doing. Dedicated servers, that's a whole other animal.
VAG is in his bag right now. Don't let me start it with that. Excuse me. In the back, don't get me started with dedicated. Don't get me Let me just calm down because that's another rant.
We've been ranting a lot here. Myfi, what are your thoughts about all this stuff? Where are you at in the state of Destiny? I know you do a lot of Sherpas and things like that, but just for looking forward, are you? I know we're excited about Beyond Light for the story and stuff like that, but where are you on just some of this when you get into the grind, the builds and things like that? Where are you at?
Well, to be honest, what you all were saying about how, of course, I wish there was dedicated servers, and of course, I wish there was an anti-cheat, and of course, I'm excited for Beyond Light, but at this point, I'm kind of I'm excited, but I'm not if you took my current energy or how I am kind of feeling about Beyond Light, and then compared it to how I was feeling about something like The Taken King or one of those other bigger expansions that were coming up. Not to say that I'm not excited, because I most definitely am, but I'm more just kind of weary because
smart.
Even though as of right now in Destiny 2 we've had worse times. We've had year 1. It's, I could definitely say year 2 of course was a whole lot. The drip content was more, I think, there. I think right now we're in kind of a pretty, even though we have Solstice, we're in a pretty slow point right now. One of the things that I want from Destiny is, it seems like it happens every year around this time. I even said it as getting into being a content creator on Destiny 2, you got to know what you're getting into. You got to know that midway through the year, around that July, August, and September point, you're you're either like going to take a hiatus from creating content, which is kind of like what I'm doing over on the YouTube side, just to kind of like recharge, or you're going to try to like pull stuff out of your hat. Like,
Facts.
like you no longer have like a jar of like ideas or like notes. Like at that point, you're just, all right, well, what do I got today? Okay. We can talk about this. And
Facts.
it's like I want a Destiny where I don't have to, even as a player back when, you know, I didn't, you know, do stuff on my own, even as just a player that just, you know, played as like a hobby, like I still would be like, all right, let's see, Destiny's gonna get slow around, you know, July. Other games are gonna start, you know, popping off. I'm just gonna go play those other games right now. Like I don't want to have to like take a break from Destiny midway through the year because, you know, I played it a bunch at the start. Like I want more, or I just want Destiny to stop being dead or just very slow around this time pretty much. Because I have a lot of friends, a lot of clanmates right now, even clanmates that we are doing, that I'm going to be doing the world's first raid with, that are currently taking a break from Destiny, and no one's sitting there like giving them a hard time. My biggest want at the end of the day is for us to not have times like these where it's very slow. Right. That's pretty much what my biggest wish for is for Destiny, is around this time just have stuff for us to do that isn't, you know, just reskinned of a Solstice of Heroes. That was the same thing as last year, but I'm not going to get into that.
We've covered that too. Don't worry. We gave it enough.
He ain't lying. He ain't lying.
No,
he's speaking facts.
I mean, picture the fall, which somebody had, like, you have Festival. Now the Haunted Forest isn't being kicked out yet. What do you guys think Festival is actually going to change? Because in theory, Festival is going to be during Beyond Light's like lifespan.
Right.
But Mercury was going to be gone.
Right.
How do you think Festival was going to work? Do you think they actually have a different plan for it? Or should your expectations be 1 out of 100 that it's like, this is true copy and paste before we get to Beyond Light because we need to save time?
I think it's going to be different. And the only reason I think that is because I think that Beyond Light, of course, like I don't think that they just started working on it post the Activision split. I believe that the Beyond Light was Destiny 3. Yeah. And I mean, I think that makes the most sense because I mean, like over half of all of our armor and gear is getting sunset now, whether it's just going to be complete reskins of the Gnawing Hunger thing happening again, where it's Gnawing Hunger was available. You know, like
unsetting stuff and reissuing.
Yeah, and
the reissuing that I have a problem with.
Beyond Light's going to come out and it's just going to be like the same exact weapons, and I'm going to have to go grind for, you know, that's going to be annoying. But I truly, honestly believe that with so many guns getting sunset that, you know, the original plan was for Destiny 2 to only make it up to year 3, and then a Destiny 3 was going to be released. But like, I feel like all that stuff that they were working on, you know, before the Activision split and all that, they didn't just scrap. I feel like a lot of it is going to make it into Beyond Light, and I think Beyond Light, I am going to go ahead out on a, like, and I hope that I'm right. I hope that I'm right and say that Destiny 2 Beyond Light is going to be bigger than Forsaken because I truly believe that this was going to be an entire, like, this was going to be Destiny 3. And I feel like that Festival of the Lost is going to be different because it was meant to be in Beyond Light, or it was meant to be in Destiny 3. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say that I think it's going to be different. I think it's not just going to be a cut, copy, and paste. And I hope I'm right. I really do, because I don't know if I could do the Infinite Forest again for the third year in a row.
Yeah.
And it's like the revelry and the festival and the revelry and the festival. It's like, we're good. We're good.
Yeah. No, I feel you. I mean, look, I don't have a lot of confidence in that, of those little events. Like, you know, it is what it is. I feel those are kind of, because when is festival drop? Is it
October?
Before?
October.
So it's still before.
It's going to be a little bit before. Yeah.
Right. You know, I'm keeping my expectations in check. The reality is this, you know, they needed more time for Beyond Light. We are allowing them that now, instead of September to November. You know, to me, this is just hold the fort down, you know, sadly play other things. You know what I'm saying? I hate these moments too. But, you know, look, the reason, again, back to my D1 versus D2 argument. The reason why, you know what I'm saying, like I get frustrated is, like I said, you have these times like this. But I think what's happened now is people are resigned to it. We just become accustomed. They can't produce. They're understaffed. They're by themselves. We're just resigned to it. But the reality is, this is not a good time. And I can count many times like this where we're like, yo, all right, we're just gonna have to wait. It's just. They're broke. They're broke this month, and we're just gonna have to wait. I've seen this every
can't buy
D2
food
podcast.
until I get my paycheck.
Yeah, got to get the paycheck, and then it's gonna be better. And now, that's why I'm coming at the D2 lovers. Like, we have way too many moments where we're not playing the game. We're like, yo, take a break. Hey, Avengers is out, or play Ghost of Tsushima is lit. I don't remember those times during D1.
They were there.
They
were definitely there.
They were like this. Not like this, bro. Like, this is, I could count, like, Season of the Drifter, Black Armory, Season of the Unworthy, Curse of Osiris. Like, I got mad gaps of 2 to 3 months where we like, yo, gotta wait. That's just the reality. We got to be real about it. Now, when it comes back, yeah, it's good. It's always good. That's what I'm trying to say. So, look, at the end of the day, back to my overall point. I think Beyond Light is going to be dope. My only concern is, I think it was Hotlight said it. Somebody said, is that I just don't want it to be all about the stasis stuff and not enough other content.
Yeah.
Because
it's all just Europa, stasis, and everything else is neglected because we're losing 7 strikes. We're losing
7 strikes. Mm-hmm.
We've only got 1 Gambit mode. Crucible's being simplified. We're losing planets. We've got a lot.
It's got to be a massive DLC.
I was like,
I hope, right? I think it will. I got confidence in these fall expansions. Mm-hmm. But again, as we learn, you know what I'm saying? That's my, I guess that's my only concern. Just like, look, how much meat is there to it? Is there a lot of stuff we don't know? And they're very good about that. But that's going to determine the success, because there is, I don't want to say red flag. There are little warning things, like E is saying, the amount of strikes leaving, the amount of the daily activities. You know what I'm saying? And look, shout out to Warcrawler. I think they are holding back. I agree with you. I think we're not getting everything. They're giving it's drip feed. Give us a little piece, get us excited. Give us a little piece, get us excited. And then we're going to get more and get more. And then we'll see how it plays out, and then we'll rate it. You know what I'm saying? Kind of thing. But that's all I got. You know what I'm saying? I'm in the end of the day, I'm confident they're going to do their thing. They've had enough time. And we just got to see. We're going to see where they're at. But I am excited about Stasis. I just want to make sure there is more. There's still, we got Deep Stone Crypt. We got all this stuff. I just want to know what else as we did get closer. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the thing.
I would
it's
have
like
to 100% agree with that.
Yeah, it's like the gaps in and of themselves aren't bad, but when they try and, it's weird because, like, as you're saying, the gaps in D1, they were there. Now there was less competition for the game. There's a lot more things out pulling strings and stuff like that. But on the other side, it's like you had Taken King, you had the April update, and then we got Rise of Iron. We didn't have a lot in there. Now, granted, what did we get in the interim for this year? Season of Unworthy. Barely counted. But story was kind of cool as they built that. The story is like one of the things keeping me going in this game right now. As the pyramid ships are coming, you've got Aldrin on the possible horizon. You've got the Witch Queen with Savathun pending about a year later. We don't know what the hell is going to happen with, Aramis and the pyramid ship on Europa and the Deepstone Crypt. There's a lot of potential there. And that's one of those things, as you play through this, is like, how much do you dedicate yourself to this? The seasonal model too, as they keep bumping up the light level, I think, for one, we're 6 years into Destiny. As we've been playing a looter shooter from Destiny, and we've been through many evolutions, ups and downs and changes and stuff. 6 years on any franchise is a long time.
Oh, absolutely.
So, I mean, some of us are truly getting to a point to where we got to take breaks at this point. You almost feel like you have to, just to keep your sanity, to be like, hey, we've got an extended season. September is literally nothing.
Right.
You're gonna have Iron Banner, a couple weeks off, maybe another Iron Banner before
we know it's
Festival of the Lost, and Festival's gonna be in there maybe with one Iron Banner, and that's like they're filling time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even if it wasn't, like this season would have been, you log in for the lore every week. Cool, Solstice. All right. Like there wasn't as much to this. So I'm like, I think to wrap up my overall rambling thoughts, which have been a whole lot this podcast. Sorry, guys.
Good.
Beyond Light has potential. Yes. I'm just weary if it doesn't deliver what it says about the future of the franchise.
Yeah, no, that's valid. That's valid.
That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, that's in the back of my head.
Yep.
So I've been on that page, and again, I don't want to. Apologies if I'm coming off as super Debbie Down, because I really am excited for Beyond Light. But as he said, we got to keep it real. Like, we got to see the execution. They've got to fully execute all the way, and then restore that confidence like they normally always do. I will say this though, like it will tell us how things are gonna go, moving forward in future seasons and stuff like that. We're gonna learn a lot when Beyond Light comes out. You know what I mean? And that's it, man. I'm excited. The last point I'll say is I think the reason why we afford them, as opposed to D1, and to your defense now, the reason why I think we afford them more leniency and hanging in is because the thing that D2 does better, I will say this, is roadmap. D1 didn't tell you what was going to happen. Yeah. So you're just frustrated, like, yo, there's no content, what's going on during this gap, right? Whereas D2, we like, okay, well, we know which queen's coming. We know this is coming. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it gives you, it helps you to calm yourself. Like, okay, there's a little downtime right now. We know Beyond Light coming, right? Then after that, yo, boom, we know this is like that. That's where they've helped themselves, because the past they were on that, that secret squirrel stuff and no one's talking and people are raging like, yo, I've got nothing to do and y'all, what I'm saying? What the hell are y'all doing? But it used to be beef, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So at least we got that transparency, and now they give us roadmaps and calendars and and then you're like, okay, this is what I'm gonna log in here because I see what they're gonna do this, and that's it. But what you got, Myfi?
At the same time of roadmaps, like don't get me wrong, I love roadmaps.
You don't want to know everything?
Let's go.
Dude, like I think that's the reason. I mean, I think there's a lot of reasons why Destiny 1 didn't feel as slow as Destiny 2 in some aspects. I think one of the big reasons is, of course, you're talking about a game that was only 3 years in, and a game now that's going on year 7. So it's like, like Destiny 1 year 1 was slow, but because it was a new IP, it was a new game, it was something fresh. Even though the content itself wasn't really there, it's just like, the feel of the game, the surrounding world was all very, immersive. And I feel like that the reason why people are getting so bored now during these slow times is because the game is 7 years old. You've pretty much done everything there is to do, and even new stuff that's coming out. You've kind of already done it. Like
we're getting reskinned Fallen, like
we're getting reskinned Fallen,
Hive again. Yeah. Like, I mean, that's yep. Sorry, go ahead.
Exactly. Like, and I feel like that's like the biggest reason. I would like to. It's one of those things. It's up in the air. We're just gonna have to see what Bungie does. But another thing about the roadmap is that I like the roadmap, but I don't like it at the same time. This is all I need. All I need you to tell me is, hey, new season's going to come out this time. That's all I need. Okay. That's literally all I need, because I feel like whenever you start putting a timer on things, people start complaining more because they it's like if Bungie knows that there's going to be a month of no content and they tell people that, or it's like, here's a roadmap and it's like, well, there's a gap here and there's no content here. People will be more likely to, voice it, and they're pretty much preparing to be kind of upset and like in a way, or just like they're preparing to not play the game in a sense, where as like if there wasn't a roadmap, or if you just said, hey, like this is when the DLCs are going to come out, or this is when, I guess they're now called seasons. I feel like people wouldn't be as inclined to quit so quickly. I like roadmaps, but at the same time, I don't want to know everything. kind
I
of
hear
like
you.
what,
Like the secrecy, that mystery.
Mm-hmm.
No, I get what you're. Yo, shout out to what is it? Egony? Fantastic point. He said, while I think the issue is it's a 7-year-old game and we've done everything, but whenever new stuff is introduced, we have to rerun all the old stuff we did.
Yep.
That's a valid point.
That's starting to really run its course.
Yes.
I mean, how many more times are you going to be like, hey, with Solstice, you got to go run Strikes, you got to go run Gambit, go do this other stuff. It's not like you see like a Borderlands DLC, totally new story comes out.
Yep.
Like our story in this game is so drip fed, it hurts sometimes.
Yeah.
I like the fact that we've had this like narrative through line during the Shadowkeep season, the pyramids and Saint 14's here. There have been things that have happened, but it's like, here's this little thing. Here's this little thing. If the season's almost just like dropped it, like just dump it in your lap, go experience all of it as like the baby expansions type stuff. It's so they want to keep people coming back, but it almost hurts it so much that they keep you coming back because you feel like if you leave, you're gonna miss something. But if you stay around, you're like, I'm doing the same
thing.
Crap. I'm just not gonna say the other word that was in my mind, but
no, you're right. I mean,
like, I think Agony's over there in agony because I had to say it. I thought of it and I had to say it.
I love it. I love it.
Like Brady said, Prophecy, we all had to go grind for hours and bounties, preparation for something brand new, and it was shadowed by old content. Yeah, it was like, so like Prophecy, it was such a high level, you had to be like, oh, everybody go do your bounties and grind and all this other stuff that comes out, bam.
Right.
So,
no, that's real. That's real.
It's like you have to grind old content to get new content. And at the same time, that new content stuff probably isn't even going to matter. Like, I think one of the biggest things that I've heard about Destiny is that there's so much to do, but in a sense, it's all the same stuff. So none of it even really matters because the reward for the stuff that you're getting is something that you've already gotten in the past. Even if it's a brand new weapon, it's still the same archetype. There's still probably a weapon that's better than it, unless it's, like a pinnacle weapon that were just extremely broken, which I actually found to be very fun. I actually really enjoyed pinnacle weapons and the brokenness of them because... Like, and I personally, I hate ritual weapons. I don't like ritual weapons. Randy's throwing knife was cool. But like, I literally like I even like talked about this in a video. It was like a 12-minute video of me just ranting of how much I hated ritual weapons and how the fact that pinnacle weapons were part of the in-game activity because like once you were kind of done with everything for that season, it's like, okay, now let's go grind this pinnacle weapon.
Let's go these pinnacles, big. Let's go.
And it was well worth the grind. Like the grind kept you engaged, and then the gun itself was like, oh my goodness, like Recluse, like this thing is broken. The fun factor was there, the grind was there, everything was there, and it's just like we don't really get that anymore.
Yeah, and then they get safe, and then they go, oh well, we realized this was too hard, so now we're gonna do this, and now we're gonna take them out, and it's just like, bro, like that again. They Daddy Bungie, it's just like trying to protect you, and it's just like that's the fun stuff. Like seeing especially with you, right? That Recluse video, like it really did something for you. You know what I'm saying? Like it's because it's a high level, dominant kind of weapon, right? That's gonna force you to get in this activity in comp. And grind and get your nose to the grindstone and work if you want this. You know what I'm saying? I miss that. Like I love that aspect of it because it's like if you want it, you're gonna have to put in the work, and the reward was worth. You're like, yo, this was it. Master of Arms is crazy. Like you know what I'm saying? Like it's so much. Like I love those type of moments, and they shouldn't shy away from it. They shouldn't, and just sometimes I feel that there becomes a point where it's like. The vocal, I don't want to say minority, but maybe majority, where it's like, maybe they look at the base and they say, okay, we're the, hardcore, so we're this smaller percentage where there's most people that can't acquire it. And I think a lot of times they kind of fall towards that. And they say, well, not everybody's going to get it, so we got to bring the requirements down.
Don't do that. Bust the hell out of me. Because if you cater to the casuals, the hardcores are leaving. The hardcores are what keep other people playing.
Facts.
Yeah, I mean, and you guys are all saying it in chat too. New Red, Mano, shout out to you, by the way. If you guys haven't followed ManoDestra777, YouTube, Twitch, awesome dude. They're all saying it though. Like, leveling, the fact that we did 1,000 bounties, new content was boring. We also had the prophecy cheese and also the grinding of the AFK Forge. If we're AFK Forge farming, something's wrong. Leveling is not fun.
Yeah.
You're AFK forge farming. And that's the thing is like, you need content that facilitates the level gap. Otherwise, we're just doing the same stuff. Like, I would much rather be like, hey, you're 1060? Cool, here's new stuff for you to go do. This is like, if you're not 1060 yet, okay, you can't go do it yet. But if you are, cool, it's yours. Like, the leveling during the seasons feels so forced.
Yeah.
It feels like, yeah, you just got to go play through. You got to do your powerfuls. You got to do your pinnacles, and everybody raids a lot. And they make you do all this stuff. But I think that might be what's burning some of us out. If I got to log in and I didn't have to go raid, but maybe they added like something here, added something there. This is like the seasonal thing, something to it that actually made me want to play, not to added number to my, like the number can change. But if I don't care what happens when I get there.
Yeah, see, that's my problem. See, my thing is, you know, I've struggled with the fact that the number resets in the season, right? I initially struggled with that. But my thing is, like you're saying, if they're going to do this, where every season now you're going to go back down to whatever power level or, you know, whatever, once you go above that hard soft cap, whatever it is, right? I need to feel powerful for this grind I'm doing. Like, I need to feel power. I'm not feeling powerful. Like, when I'm 1080 versus another guy that's, like, I'm not feeling I'm tanking. I need to feel. If you going to make me, if I'm putting in this work and I am grinding these bounties and I'm doing this activity, I'm logging into this game every week, right? And I'm getting things done. I need to feel like a boss when I'm doing the
like
night.
You go into a raid, you go into a Vanguard strike, you feel the same level of powerful. No matter what number is on that character.
Bro.
Now you can feel weaker, mind you. You can get the crap kicked out of you real fast, and that's the other. That's the other side of the equation. Difficulty is not artificial high numbers. Just like I one shot you in a Grandmaster. That's there are people this season. I haven't got Conqueror yet. I need to try and find some people who will. Willingly drag me through that. I'm high enough to get it. But it just sounds painful. It is a title to go for to say, some people have it down to a fine art. But again, most people, when they talk about the corrupted, and then it was Tree of Probabilities. No. Garden of Salvation. People just hated running those on Grandmaster because they're not fun. One little snipe, one little trip up here. That's not fun game mechanics. That's just... Everything that looks at you wrong is going to kill you.
Preach. And Agony's in my bag. That's literally what Agony just said right now. He says another thing is that I get bummed out how they're doing all these promos and press to make us feel powerful. Yet 750 Menagerie, we still get neutered in one shot by Knights. See, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Again, D1, I miss going into an old raid and going, Atheon, what's up? And melting him, and you're like, like I miss that feeling because it feels good. You're so powerful now. Now it's like a revenge tour. It's like all the stuff that used to terrorize me. Yeah, now you're gonna get it. Like I want to feel like that. Why do they we should be going in Leviathan right now.
Oh, and absolutely like one shotting him with sidearm.
Yes, ravaging Callus. Yeah, ravaging.
That sounds a little dirty, but that's okay.
Hey, it is what it is. it's last word after dark. So
at the end of the day, for you guys. It's after 9, so that's fine. But no, that's. I mean, I was talking about this with literally one of my buddies, Doldrus, who's out there sometimes. That's one of this one, and then even honestly, Avengers is going to run into the same thing. If everything scales to you, you never feel powerful. Like World of Warcraft, when I got to level 60. If I went back to a level 15 area, I would look at something and it would die. Like, not even like, just blink my eyes. It's like, screw this, I'm dead. Nope, not even going to try.
How fun is that?
You can get killed in patrols.
Yes.
How? I am 1060. Those patrols are basically level 1, and I can still get killed in there. Public events, like, pick you up, shot you down. Like, public events should not be a struggle.
Yes. I agree,
but they still make us do them, so they have to make them somewhat of an issue. We've gone off on a tangent, but it's a leveling, and they mentioned they're trying to get away from bounties. They haven't explained what that's going to be, but I mean, you can go do a strike, and you can go do a raid, and you'll still get more experience in a lost sector and bounties.
Yeah,
you don't get rewarded for what you do, and we don't feel powerful, and that's where if you don't feel powerful in an RPG, then none of those numbers matter.
None of them matter. It takes away from the fantasy, and like I say, I see guys with insane light level numbers. Like those guys should be like, you know what I mean?
There's a dude out there who's like 1120 or some
Wow.
stupid number.
Wow.
And I was just like, two things for that guy. One, he's, I think, either just going for a record, or I think he said he got to a certain point and had to go back to college, so he's probably going to get passed. But those people are just like constantly playing the same stuff over and over. And then the worst part is it's stripped away.
Yes.
Like the whole artifact leveling, I'm honestly going to be okay if it's gone.
I don't mind if it's gone, but if it's going to stay, you better make us feel powerful once we get past that hard guy. That's it. If you're going to do this and keep stripping us down, you can't be scaling us. There should be a level of, you know what I'm saying? Once you get to a certain number cap, then that starts to depreciate.
The delta is...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like this.
Yeah,
it's not like this.
Facts.
It's like a 1 degree tilt. It ought to be about
1 degree,
about 45 if you're going to get over the top. So
yeah, and make how many people? How cool would it be for Myfi? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like his light's so crazy now. Sherpering really benefits because he's so powerful, and it's just like, yo, let me get these people through. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is fun. That's going to keep people in, keep the stream. And then the guys that are under level be like, all right, cool. Well, I know Myfi. I can get down with him. He can, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'm talking about.
That'd be great. That would be great. Like, I know it says that, like, each raid or activity is, like, 750 base, but, I mean, it doesn't. I mean, I'm sitting over here at, like, 1075, and I'm gonna get killed in the same amount of shots as if I was 750.
Yep. And
it just really sucks. I know. I do wish, or I do miss the part of just Destiny 1, like where you would just go back and you would obliterate everything. And because I remember in the beta of D1 in the Cosmodrome, where you land to the left, there was that little underground stairway with the knight that you couldn't kill in the beta. And then when the full game launched, one of the first things I did when I was of level, I went down there and I smacked that knight up for killing me all those times in beta.
Yes. You was like, remember what you used to do to me? That's the feeling, man. See, y'all coming around. Y'all coming around in D1. That's the feeling. I miss that so bad, man. It was so satisfying because we know the pain that we went through dealing with those areas. And it felt so good. It was the ultimate revenge tour. I'm like, let's run that old raid now.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be a thing now. It's like Prestige Leviathan has been in the game for 3 years. In Forsaken, we should have been able to Prestige Leviathan, like, okay, you need to go grind that thing out. Yeah, you haven't seen it before. Okay, I can carry you through. It's a little harder, a little weird, but, you know, it's more, then you're, like, learning mechanics, not dying to the same guys you died to last year. So, no. It's, it's like, I think we've definitely beaten this topic to bed.
Yeah, we did to bed. So
but, I mean, it is one of those things that this is one of those topics, like, if we see another year of this and we're looking at, you know, 1260 infusion or what is it going to be? No, 1360, I think is the big, whatever it's going to max out at that we can see. And we're like, here's another 50 levels every time. It's one of those things about Destiny that if it doesn't evolve over the course of 3 more years, that 9th year is going to be the end of it because people are going to be really tired of it.
Yeah, we'll have a problem. But like I said, I know we've been going in, but one thing about them, it's a cycle. They have to get to that point where people get so fed up, and then they finally listen, and then we're like, yeah, they're back, baby. And they have us in their honeymoon joint for like another 3 to 4 months. Then they mess up again. It's a cycle with Destiny. It's just how it is. I've come to accept it. I'm not saying it's right, but I will say that I'm confident, though. Fall, they're going to do their thing. Yeah. We'll be hype. We'll be back in pocket. You know what I'm saying? And they will surprise us because there's always those twabs where we'll watch and we'll be like, finally, this is what I'm talking about.
There's going to be those points.
And then we're doing like virtual chess ball
podcast with a twab. Sorry, guest. Like, no, crazy stuff occasionally does happen.
Yes. Agreed. It'll happen. It just takes them long. And like you say, you know, like you said, Myfi, you know, I'm at the point, get your other games in. We know how this cycle plays. Do what you got to do.
The Destiny cycle.
The Destiny cycle. It's a drug. You can come back with it. You know it's going to be good again. You just come back and do your thing. Just get everything else done. I'm working on Ghost of Tsushima now. I'm at that last point, you know what I'm saying? Avengers is on my bucket list. Wasteland 3 is on my bucket list. I'm just trying to knock everything out, you know. And in their defense, you know, they needed more time. They delayed it because we would have had it. This is September. It actually would have been Beyond Light would have technically dropped when? Like next week or something?
22nd or something like
2
that.
weeks, yeah. So
it was delayed 6 weeks, so
Yeah.
it would have been a few weeks later. Like, and that's the thing too. The lore this season, there's just going to be this pregnant pause until whatever finishes with that stuff. I mean, they've had stuff coming in, but are they going to push the evacuation back, or is the evacuation going to happen and then we just have 6 weeks of nothing? Still not sure.
Shout out to Cat Daddy. I gotta say this one. He said it's like a toxic relationship where you hope if you hang on a little longer, they will change. Cat is hilarious. Look, it is what it is, man. We know what we signed up for, but they always do their thing. They always do their thing. That's all I got.
Yeah. Well, man, Myfi, I'm so glad we got you on here. This has been.
It was good to be on. It was good to be on.
A blast. So, is this your first podcast, or you've been on
This is my, I mean, back in like high school, like, you know, a few of my friends would try to like do a podcast.
In the content creation world, and now you're famous.
This is my first one.
Oh, it's your first? Awesome.
It's my very first one.
Oh, that's
well, thank you for letting us take you through it. Honestly, it's been a blast, man. It has been awesome to have you on.
I appreciate it.
Sounds like we could keep rambling. Apparently we have a lot of stuff to complain about tonight. We have new stasis powers we talk about for 45 minutes,
and then we're
bitching on either
end. Salute to us, man.
But the floor is yours, man. Let them know what you got. If you got anything you're working on, anything you're playing, where to find you, what you do. We already kind of covered what you do, but I mean, let them know. The floor is yours. This is your time to tell everybody who watches our stuff where to find you.
So you can find me over on YouTube, literally just the name Myfi. You can look it up. I'm currently taking a little hiatus. I haven't uploaded in about 3 weeks. I'm pretty much kind of just like, I'm just trying to like really focus on like the Twitch side of things. That's where I'm gonna be mainly at until Beyond Light drops. Twitch.tv/Myfi with an underscore at the end, because Twitch refuses to give me the normal name Myfi because it's
one person. I looked it up too. I was like, oh crap, I mistyped it. There's like one person on that channel.
Yep. They refuse to give it to me.
Wow.
And so you gotta throw in the underscore at the end, or I will not come up. You'll catch me playing Destiny over there Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sundays now. I normally just do Sherpas and help and just chill out. Every now and then we'll hop over to a different game and whatnot. But on the YouTube, whenever Beyond Light does come out, we just post up build videos, top fives, god rolls, stuff like that. Just trying to keep it interesting and fun and whatnot. And as of right now, man, I mean, I'm experimenting with other games. I'm only playing Destiny on stream, and off stream, I'm playing other games. I'm currently playing through Spider-Man on PS4, Ghost of Tsushima. I want to get into Marvel. I got into Control, the game by 505 or Remedy.
Sir.
Yeah.
Been playing with that, trying to play it at 4K with ray tracing on. My computer
get that graphics card.
Get that card, baby. Get that card.
Get that new 3090
that you was talking about. That 3090, you Gucci.
I'm
just
waiting
for
screenshots of glory.
Yes,
we do.
Salute, man, yo.
But yeah, that's pretty much what I got going on.
That's what's up, man. Yeah, absolute pleasure to have you in, man. Like, you killed it.
A pleasure being here.
Salute. Honor to have this on your first podcast, you know, as a content creator. So salute for you coming through on that. Love the content. Love what you're doing. Shout out to the beats. Your beats be rocking, by the way. I was meaning to shout you out on your beats during your streams and stuff. Like, you be getting it in. I'll be liking the music in the background.
He's jamming out to some alternative rock a lot.
His alternative rock game is lit. I was like, oh, what's that? Okay.
All right, I get complimented on that so much.
Bro, your music.
This is what I do. I went on Spotify. I typed
play music anymore. I don't know.
2000.
Yeah.
Well, I'll get into that in just a second. But like, I went there. I typed in 2000s rock essentials. Played the playlist. It's 3 hours long, and I would have to keep looping it. So my mod, Shaz, really like probably one of my best friends.
Salute to Shaz.
Said, all right. He takes the playlist. He takes it, finds similar songs, and turns it into a 9-hour playlist. And then he went, and I got a hip hop one of like rap and whatnot. Because I only listen to rock. I only listen to rock on stream. Off stream, I listen to like rap and hip hop.
Yeah.
So he made like a 9-hour playlist that I don't even use on stream. I just use it off stream. And it's just like, but no, when it comes to playing music, like copyrighted music on Twitch, what you want to do is that you just want to turn off clips.
Got it.
When it comes to VODs get muted, but clips, I feel pretty safe with my clips turned off and my VODs just automatically get muted. So
I used to mess around with just like, because I mean, it was like Spotify, and then I'd pull it, be like, oh, I was like going through like nostalgic music, like random Mega Man stuff, or playing through. It's just like, it was fun to mess around with music, especially if you're grinding stuff out. Like, that is one of those things that like I wanted to. So it's like, that's good to know on the clips and stuff that you've been saying. I shut everything off when all those people, like when the DMCA strikes were coming out and all that stuff for Twitch. So I was just trying to be safe, and I saw some people are still doing it. So I was like, feels a little better to get back in, I guess.
Plus, I just can't vibe with like all that royalty free music. Like, I haven't found any that I like, man. Like, I mean, I tried. I can't get jiggy with that. I remember like it was like one night like Glad wasn't streaming. I went there, I typed in playlist, and it was like his DMCA free playlist. I loaded up and I was like, these are good, but like I just can't get away from just like my main like stuff that I listen to, and it's just like the stream vibes just like weren't as high whenever the music's just not right, and
I'm with you.
I just couldn't do it anymore. I did the same thing as well, but I mean the whole DMCA thing happened a few years back, and people freaked out and started playing non-copyrighted music, and then after about half a year, it kind of simmers down, it goes back to normal. Pretty much anytime like a big streamer gets hit with like a DMCA takedown, people freak out, but then they kind of simmer back down and kind of go back to normal until Twitch gets fully kind of like copyright like things get put in place where automatic like strikes and removals and stuff like that happen. But
no doubt, I gotta shout your motto. So Shaz is the real one. Salute to Shaz.
I love Shaz. I wouldn't do half the things I did if he wasn't helping me out.
You already know, but yes, I gotta salute you on that. Keep up the grind.
Salute to the mods out there. You guys are the unsung heroes.
Unsung heroes for real, man. But yeah,
Hollymod.
Hollymod, shout out. We see
he's not in here tonight. I think he's.
We see it tonight. Probably glad. But yeah, you already know me, man. At Lord Cognito on Twitter. Iron Lord Podcast. Every Sunday is the Lord's Day. Check us out and on lordsofgaming.net, man. We're really doing some big things with the website. Just got approved to Open Critic, you know what I'm saying? So super proud of the team. We got some stuff cooking up with the site that you're going to see. And this Sunday, we got a big one, y'all. So show some love, Iron Lord Podcast. This Sunday, the legendary Ryan McCaffrey will be in the building. That's Podcast Unlocked, IGN Unfiltered, the whole thing. Sunday, 1 p.m. If you can't catch it on YouTube, catch us live on Twitch as well. We do the restream over there. So this is a big one in the cap. You know the intro gonna be lit, and we gonna have some fun, man. So
that intro is gonna be 5 minutes long.
Yeah, we gonna hit them. We gonna hit them hard, like how we hit Myfi. You gonna hit them hard. So it's gonna be lit. So check us out. Appreciate your support. It's been tremendous. So check us out there, man. That's all I got.
Yeah. Well, again, Myfi, thank you, man. Got to shout out Cognito, though. Mr. Holly Podcast, man. He's bouncing around all the big podcast names. He's got another one, the Destiny show, coming up later. A couple IGN guest appearances. This man is everywhere.
Hey, I'm trying to catch up to you, man.
Dude, no, I was like, I'm bowing down right now. This man is podcast greatness. So,
thank you,
no, shout out to my co-host, but Senior Myfi. Man, this is fun. Okay, like the tangents we get off on sometimes, I never know how they're going to go, but just you jumping right in. Thank you. Thank you very much. Everybody in chat, you guys have been amazing. Shout out to Shaz. Apparently, you're the unsung hero of the Myfi Twitch channel. And to everybody in my chat as well. All you guys, lots of love out there. So for me, you guys know where to find me. I've been streaming Avengers, playing that one, see how long that one will hold my attention. Of course, you guys know where to find me on Twitch and Twitter, Tibontis, everywhere. YouTube's, of course, still growing and stuff. Thank you guys. Not as big as Myfi out here, but we're always trying to chase the bigger creators than us. So doing everything we can. But we know Beyond Light's going to be big. So best thing I can say is take your break. Try these other games that you haven't played. Play Avengers. Go play God of War if you haven't. Breathe a little bit.
Yes.
And then when you get back to Destiny, it's probably going to feel a little better. Shout out to Shaz. Got to get that dab. I made it through, man. Sweet. Okay, so I made it through so far. I'm safe. Yep. Don't say anything. So.
Don't jinx it.
Yeah. All right. So. Well, thank you, man, very much. Make sure you guys go follow Myfi on Twitch, on Twitter, on YouTube. Find him. Lord Cognito, the podcast, Iron Lord, Lord of Gaming Man. And for me, Ebontis everywhere. Thank you guys very much. I'm going to send you guys over to Rated Channel. We'll do that in a second. But for episode number 119, September 4th, thank you guys very much. And it has been
the last word with a siren in the back.
You can, so it's like, we'll do it again. So whenever I have that pause, just say it's been the last
like
word.
The damn siren came in. I'm like, come on.
So it has been
the last word.
Last word.